All right, I'd like to welcome everyone inside North Hill Bowl for the 13th annual Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout. I'm Darren C. with NDBowling.com. I'm joined once again by good friend Ken Fletcher. Ken, welcome back to NDBowlTV.
Thank you, Darren. I'm glad to be here again. It's going to be a great few games here.
Yeah, and speaking of a great few games, we are just now starting position round. The last game of match play was actually about a half an hour ago, but we got word that when people turned in their score sheets, there were quite a few added wrong, so they took a little time to do that. So we're going to give you a little bit of bonus coverage today. Let's go over the scores quick. On our featured pair will be the actual, what is it, the 8-9 matchup?
The 7-8 matchup.
7-8 matchup, okay. So let's do a quick rundown of the scores so you know where we are at here. Leading going into position round is Mike Larson at 24.98. In second, Manitoba Open champion Andy Mills at 24.94, so 4 pins back. In third is Justin Schiffler at 24.93. In fourth place, fueled by a 300 in Game 11, Mike Allen at 24.75. In fifth, Dan Langer at 24.53. In sixth, Jason Hansen at 24.50. Seventh is Chad Nelson at 24.09. In eighth is Justin Coast at 24.08. Ninth is Dan Bach at 24.02. 10th is Jeremiah Smith at 2400. So, you know, and going behind that, all the way down to, what is that, 13th is Rob Warren at 2382. Is they're all within 100 pins. And when you have a match like this and you get 30 bonus pins for winning, really anything can happen here in this match.
Yeah, realistically, you know, top 13 can make it. Granted, you know, any of those 7 through 13 guys are going to have to shoot a pretty big game here, but we've seen it already with a couple 300s. Mike Allen just had one in Game 11. Douglas Wagner also, I think it was Game 8, had one. You know, so they're out there. But as we know, it was not easy.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we'll take a minute here before they get started in the position round, and we'll kind of go over what happened yesterday. We had 127 entries. And the one thing that really got me about the whole thing is only one left-handed bowler made the cut, and that's Wade Scott.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of them were close for a lot of the day, but when it came down to it, Wade was the only one that made it. You know, Eric Parvey, a little bit of struggle at the end, just missed out. Lance Gehring was pretty close as well.
Yep, he made a run at the end, which is kind of what gets me, because it seemed like what happened yesterday is once the friction and once more people started bowling on the right side, they opened up a little bit better. But on the left side, you know, Eric Parvey went good early and struggled late, and Lance Gehring struggled early and came on late. And so you know, I'm not sure really what happened on the left side. I bowled with the Storm rep, Brett Cooper, yesterday.
Yep.
And he struggled to find a look, and the righties kept migrating left on this pattern. And you'll see that, you know, here on our featured pair. And maybe that had something to do with it, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, as far in as the righties had to get, I mean, you know, both of us bowled yesterday. I was inside fourth arrow the last half of the day. So,
so was I.
Yeah.
And so what are we bowling on? We had what they call around here program 30, and what that is a 2.19 to 1 oil ratio sport compliant pattern. And it was really tough. It's a fairly flat pattern, and there definitely is out of bounds, but once the righties kind of burnt up the outside of the track area, it kind of gave us a bumper, and that's what boosted the scores there towards the end. So, and we're looking at Justin Coast here in his first shot. He was kind of playing, you know, straight up 7 border. So,
yeah, it's one of Coast's things that he likes to do is stay right.
Right, and it's kind of what you see on day 2. Is the pattern is a little bit tighter, and there's not enough traffic to really burn it out like it did in the qualifying round. So you see players having to play different parts of the lane and mainly out of their comfort zone.
Yep, definitely. I mean, most every guy from what, you know, you see when you get here right away is they all like to start in, kind of get where they were to finish yesterday. That's always the something that always gets me about day 2 is to watch is where everybody likes to start, usually where they finished.
Yep. Nail your feet down on game 8 yesterday and start their game 1 today.
And all that does is just make it worse for everyone as the day goes on.
So let's take a look at our scores yesterday. Zach Wilkins did lead qualifying at 182 over. Matt Smallin was second at 160 over. Nick Heilman at 141. Luke Oaklander at 140. And Chad Nelson was fifth at 133 over. The cut was Richard Vitko, past champion here. Is that 20 under?
No, I think was it 20?
It looks like 1580 was Richard Vitko at 20 under. So
Clayton Moore was 28 under. That's right.
Yeah, and Clayton Moore did get to bowl today, as Jason Borley was what we believe injured. I think he ripped up his hand really good yesterday in the qualifying round and was not here this morning. So Clayton ended up going in as the alternate.
Yeah, that can happen pretty easily when you bowl like games that quick.
Especially because Jason did bowl up in Winnipeg last week.
Oh yeah.
So he bowled 10 games there as well. And he may have made the cut up there. I'm not sure. But, you know, you and I both bowled on this pattern yesterday. It was pretty tough. I think the hardest thing for me is, you know, once the head started to go and you migrate left to chase the pattern, there's so much oil down lane to get your ball to tip and roll.
Yep.
And so you kind of had to throw it slow. You had to have plenty of surface in your hand, but then you didn't want something that set up too soon because you needed all you could back into the pattern to try to get corners out. So.
Yep, absolutely. I don't know what else you can say. You know, it's you know, I don't want to say sport bowling, but it's tough bowling at its finest right here. You know.
Right, it's a pattern that definitely required you to make your spares, and when you missed, you paid full penalty. That's just how it is. We are here in position round. If you guys are just joining us, it was a little late going on the position round as there's some adding errors. We had to make sure everything was right. There's about 100 pin gap between first and 13th, so really
anything can happen.
Anybody's ball game out here. I would like to take a minute and let everyone know that you're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network. And NDBowlTV is sponsored by Ebonite, the official bowling ball of NDBowling.com. And please find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Stay connected, share the stream with everyone you know. You guys are how we advertise as our fans, and we do appreciate everything you do. We're going to try to keep an eye on what's going on here. 29 and 30 will be our championship pair. Right now it is the 7-8 match, as they started at the high end of the house and went all the way down to lane 1. So off your screen is the 1 through 6 matches here, and we're going to try to keep you up to date as what we see.
Yep, still pretty early on yet, but anything can happen in the last few frames. Few strikes here with Justin and Chad, so never know. I'd like to point out your predictions. Well, not yours, but when you put up everybody to put their predictions.
Yes.
I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. If anybody watched on NDBowling.com's Facebook page, we had who's your guy to win in each major, and Matt Smallin picked Andy Mills to win the Manitoba Open, which he did, and his pick to win the shootout was Chad Nelson, and Chad Nelson, even though he's in the 7-8 matchup, he does have the front 3 here on our featured pair, so maybe he can make a run, and you know, if he ends up winning this tournament, I think Matt Smallin needs to buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, he's one guy I don't think you want to see in the finals either.
Right. If there's any guy, like I've watched a lot of bowlers, Matt Smallin, Mike Schmidt, there's Dan Bach, you know. Chad Nelson is about as accurate of a bowler as I've ever seen, and he throws it so good.
I mean, there's a reason he has the reputation he does as being as good as anybody in the, our tri-state area.
Yeah, he's Mr. CBA too. I think he's got more CBA titles than anyone, and I can see why.
Definitely. He's something to watch. You know, I've been familiar with the name Chad Nelson for quite a while, but never really got to watch him until I think a couple years ago when he came up here, and it's a sight.
Yeah, he's fun to watch, and his opponent, Justin Coast, who we're probably more familiar with down in the Fargo-Moorhead area, you know, he's been around for a while. There a couple years back, he finished 6th, just one spot off the show.
Yep.
Looking to make another run, and he's got a pretty tough opponent here in position round.
But both throwing great shots, and you know what? With as close as it is,
yeah,
who knows? They could both jump up.
Looking down here, it looks like Larson has an open in the 4th.
Yep.
Andy Mills just doubled, so he's got the early advantage in that match.
Watching Justin Schiffler also playing, looks like outside around first arrow, and another quick double there, and maybe looking to jump up too.
Yeah, this is going to be really close, and once we get the scores for you all, our final 5, we will let you know, and then we'll go right into this show right away, because I know a lot of these guys out here have a long way to drive, including yourself.
Yeah, well, not as long as some of them, but you know, 4.5 hours. It's not what you want to do this time of year if you don't have to.
Yeah, I did that drive last weekend from Winnipeg, but today I get to drive down the hill. 4.5 blocks to my house.
Yeah, yeah. Lucky man.
So, let's see here. Chad Nelson on the front 5. Justin Coast not that far behind. If you guys are watching, let everyone know on social media that we are now live in HD today. And I would like to thank Mike Green and North Hill Bowl for helping us out getting the connection. We had a few internet problems here early, but we got everything figured out, and we're good to go. We should, you know, touch base on the prize fund as well.
Yep.
These bowlers today are bowling for a $5,000 first place prize, and I think if you make the show, you're guaranteed $1,000.
Yep, 1,000. I believe it's 14 for 4th, 22, and then 3,000 for runner-up.
Yep. And then it goes all the way down to the 1,000. So these bowlers are playing for a lot of money right now, and you know, I think we have a pretty good match here on our featured pair.
Both these guys want to make the show from what we've seen early on.
Douglas Wagner, just wrapped 10 over there. You saw that on your screen on 26. He had the front 4 in this wrap 10. Justin Coast trying to make it happen.
You know, you can right away see the 2 different ways to play this pattern. You know, Mike Allen shot 300 playing out there. Douglas Wagner shot 300 playing more where Chad Nelson was playing, I believe. So there's a lot of ways to do it.
And I look over there, Mike Larson just likes single pins, so he's going to have to put some strikes together, and especially with what we have going on here on our featured pair, there's going to be a lot of moving around.
Yep.
Looks like he just threw a strike there.
Oh.
Good block by Justin Coast.
It's a shout out to our friend Chris Carrico right there.
Yeah. So once again, we are in position round at the CMA Memorial Shootout, the 13th annual. And I'm just going to take a quick look here across the board. We've got Mike Larson, Andy Mills, Schiffler, Allen, Langer, Hansen, Nelson, Coast, Bach, Smith, Lanto. We do not have a past champion in the top. I think our highest finishing champion is Matt Smolin in 25th at the moment.
Is it? Yeah, because I don't think Sam has ever won one. He's been on the show a number of times.
Yeah, we do not have a past champion.
It's only
higher than 25th right now. So
3 that made the cut, it looks like.
So it looks like in our 13th annual, we will find our 13th different winner here.
That's not something you would expect with, but with this talent field.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
We touched on it on the NDBowling.com Facebook page a few days ago that of the 4 major championships, the other 3 saw a repeat winner within the first 8 years. And we are now in year 13 of the shootout. We're going to have 13 different winners.
Yeah, and at this point, we've only got, what, 1 guy, I think, that's made the show here before. That's on the show at this point.
Yeah, Andy Mills. He made the show, I think he's made the show twice.
Last year, I believe. Last couple years, I think.
Yeah, I know back, I think the last year they did a live TV show down here on 35, 36. I remember he was wearing the pink pants because it was the first year that we had NDBowling.com, and I have a few pictures from when I did the tournament recap.
Oh, yes.
He's not as colorful today, so we didn't have to calibrate the cameras too much.
Nope, just a nice little gray with some color, but
Yeah.
not as usual.
Yeah.
Bright orange, bright pink.
The typical Andy Mills attire. Again, if you are watching our show, if you want to connect with myself or Ken Fletcher here in the booth, just let us know. Go into the chat room, send us a tweet out on Twitter, message us on Facebook. We will answer any questions you have. If you have a favorite bowler out there, you want to know how they did, we have our top 36 here through 11 games. And then during our show, we will likely get a final standing sheet so we can let everyone know how they're doing. One thing I would like to point out as well, Jeff Craig, I visited with him, he's a tournament director here, and he mentioned that the prize fund that they are giving away is exactly as it is shown on the poster.
Really?
And what's shown on the poster is based off of 160 entries. So North Hill Bowl covered the equivalent of, what is that, 33 entries?
Yep.
To basically, the payout here is based on 160. And we only had 127 bowlers. So a big thank you to North Hill Bowl and everyone for what they have done for this tournament. And if you've never bowled it, I do highly recommend coming up here. It's a Class A field, and it's run very well. I think the scoring and everything worked perfect yesterday. I didn't see any breakdowns either, so
No,
pretty good.
I heard Rory talking that it couldn't have gone any better. I mean, you know, bowling it for a few years, I've seen what happens where they have to do it by hand, and it's not fun for the guys that have to do the scoring, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I remember too, and you end up taking your name off and going ABC for everyone, and then it makes it different as a competitor too, because the way they run it now is you bowl a game and it takes your whole pair to the next, like the scores, so you always know what everyone else has around you.
Yep.
And it kind of gives you a good way to gauge what the scoring pace is. So when the scores don't work and you have to put in A, B, C, D, you're really kind of left in the dark as to what everyone's doing. So.
Yep.
Down here, Douglas Wagner is on 279, pace through 8. Otherwise, there's no big scores here.
Yep.
He is in 12th. He was at 2390, so he's 60 pins off the show.
And the way that the guys are going right there, who knows? Really, the only one that's not shooting the best of games looks like Mike Larson at the moment. Off another open in the 8th frame.
Yeah, he's got 122 in the 8th, so looks like Andy Mills could take that match, and if he's got enough to stay ahead of Schiffler, but Schiffler's got a pretty good game going here.
Yeah, that's going to be tight right there with those two.
So it's possible that Schiffler could, with a good game here, jump to the #1 seed, and that guarantees you $3,000.
Yeah.
So the #1 seed is a big deal here.
Yeah, how nice it would be to be guaranteed $3,000 in the geez.
You and I just want to make cut. And
Yeah, that'd be nice just once.
Yeah.
But, you know, as we said, with this field, it's so difficult. I don't think there's a tougher field to make a cut at than this tournament right here.
Yeah, you look around, you've got World Cup champions, you have USBC Eagle winners, you have Hall of Famers, state and local and national Hall of Famers. It's stacked across the board, so.
Yeah, it's as good as we get up here.
Once again, those of you joining us, we are in position round, so following this match, they will determine the final 5, and we will start right up here on NDBowlTV.
Oof. Nice break for Dan Langer. Should say that is Dan, not Dave, that we normally see.
Which, you know, brings to my attention, Dave missed cut, which is something you don't normally see. I think he was high qualifier here like 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And he did not make cut. He finished in 53rd, you know, about 70 under. So got a yell out by Douglas Wagner.
Is that who that was?
Yeah,
I heard it.
He struck in the 9th, so he gets the last 3 in the 10th. He's got 279. He is in 12th. He was only 60 back of 5th. But he's also got, you know,
all this in front of him too, but as tight as the scores are, you know.
And there's a big 3-bagger for Schiffler in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. So
I'm
pretty sure if he wins that match, strikes out there, that he he may jump up and be our #1 seed.
Yeah, that would lock up the #1 seed, it looks like, if he does.
You know, after that, you know, I think Andy Mills, as long as he beats Larson, he's in good shape. Larson is going to be, you know,
you don't want to say it, but
he's got a 131 in the 9th, and things are not looking good for him.
Going from the 1 seed to maybe out of the show with how tight things are right here.
Yeah, from 1st to 5th, it was only 40 pins. So,
yeah, and unfortunately, you know, unless you see a major screw up by a couple of the guys below him, he could be out.
But we'll wait and see. You never know. That's a crazy part about this game is anything can and will happen.
Yeah. Chad and Justin both still have 250 on the board, and I think we can all hear that right there. That's double in the 10th for 270, and
yeah, he's got 270 on the board, and he's fired up.
Could easily jump him into the show. And I think some of the guys here aren't too thrilled about him, but you know what? When you shoot something like that, I'd be pretty damn excited too.
Yeah, and he's young. He's young. He's fired up, and I think everyone's stopping and waiting for him to shoot his last ball because.
Yeah, he can be an animated guy. You know, I've been around him a little bit from juniors. He's a few years younger than both of us, but you know, he's a heck of a talent. I'll say that.
Yeah, and he's going 107 over in one game, so. Jumping from possibly 12th into the show is very possible for him. At this point, he would jump Larson for sure.
Yeah, I believe that's... Yeah, with Larson only being 160, yep. Yeah, this will be... There's a lot to still happen right here. A couple 250s on the board with these guys in front of us.
And I will say that Douglas Wagner did shoot that 270 against Sam Lanto, National Hall of Famer. So,
yep.
Looks like that'll do it for Lanto, but another good tournament nonetheless. Looking around here, it looks like Chad Nelson has the upper hand on this match, but things are still close.
Yeah, double and 9, and that could put him in the show as well. I don't know, it's pretty close yet, but. You know, over here looking at the Schiffler match, and Mike Allen's going to shoot 220, 230, and that could be enough. Yeah. Opens the door for Justin right there.
Yeah, in this sort of setting, when you're bowling match play, the win is really big because it gets you that extra 30 pins, and with as close as everything is, the win is the biggest part, and it looks like Andy Mills had 211 with the win.
Yeah, that's
Mike Allen's going to have.
He's got 234 with a strike here. Means Justin needs good count with a mark to overtake him, and that would lock up the #1 seed for him.
Chad Nelson here with a strike will be in the 240, 243.
Yeah, and really, it's a big strike for Chad to force Justin to double to beat him.
Once again, exciting times here, folks. If you're just joining us, please share the link on Facebook, social media. Anything you can do.
You hear me scream?
Big shot there by Schiffler. That was another.
Yeah, I think everybody heard that one as well. That he knew what that was.
And that was for the victory in that match as well. He had to strike the first ball, so that'll vault him probably ahead of Andy Mills. So
yep,
that'll likely guarantee Justin Schiffler as our top seed. Let's see, he'll have possible 258 left.
Yep, he's already in the 240s.
Yeah, and he was well up on Wagner, so Wagner won't catch him on that front. So
big shot for Coast.
Coast has a chance to beat Chad Nelson here.
Yep, 9 spare. It looks like will be a 1-pin victory for Justin Coast, and definitely vault over Jason Hansen and Dan Langer. That's pretty close.
And I would like to say this is all speculation at this point. You know, we're just doing quick math in our heads. We don't know. With a 270 on the board from the 12th guy, Schiffler will have 247 with the spare conversion. So he's got to pick this. Coast has to pick this to win the match and get the 30 bonus pins. So if he doesn't, a tie would be, they'd each get 15.
And then he'd be, what, 1 pin shy of Chad Nelson. Because since they're 1 pin apart, it looks like. But, you know, Justin being a pretty good spare shooter.
This is a big spare for Coast.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
That's, you don't want to see it, but you hope that doesn't cost him the show
now
right there.
Chad Nelson is 1 pin ahead of Coast with that flag right there. So crazy things do happen, like we said, and you saw it right there.
I mean, it's pressure that I don't think I've been under. You know, I know you've made a show a few years ago.
Yeah, I had to pick up a 10 pin to do it. You know how shaky those are for me.
Yeah. So I mean, it's amazing what this kind of pressure can do to some people.
And you never know until you get to that position. So for those of you out there sitting at home thinking, you know, how hard is it to pick up a single pin like that? Well, on this pattern in that situation, it's pretty tough. So.
Yep. Double from Dan Langer, and that's going to be close. I think he's going to be just shy of, no, he's going to jump Mike Allen, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were only 20-some pins apart, and they're going to shoot about the same game. So it's this is I don't even know what to think at this point.
This is you know, I've watched almost every year here at the CMA Memorial Shootout, having grown up in Minot. I've never seen it this close.
No.
On the back half of the tournament, I have never seen it like this. Usually, you have your 2 guys that are way out in front, and then like 3 through 7 are close. So then you have some really good matches. But we might see a guy jump from 12th into the show. And, you know, I remember a few years back, Mike Schmidt did the same thing. He shot about 270, but he was in like the 8th, 7th or 8th spot and did it. And now we have a guy coming up from possibly the 12th spot to make the show.
Yeah, and frankly, a guy I'm not sure I'd want to see on TV either. You know, youth has its advantages, and he throws one heck of a ball. And you know what? At his age, nerves probably don't mean a whole lot to him yet.
Right, and you know, I think that's what everyone sitting at home wants to see. They want to see, you know, people fired up, and we've got Douglas Wagner and Justin Schiffler who ran out shots, yelled pretty loud. So we've got a little bit of people fired up here today. We're gonna have an exciting show for you folks.
Yep. There'll be some good matches here, regardless of who actually is in and who's out.
And while we have a minute, let's just remind you all that I'm Darren Sini with NDBowling.com, joined by Ken Fletcher, good friend of mine. He was on our show in Sioux Falls. We thank him for joining us once again. You're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network. And Ebonite is the official bowling ball of NDBowlTV. And remind you all to stay connected via social media. Please head to our Facebook page, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Every bit helps us, and the more fans we have, the more people that see our shows and everything else. So if you could please go do that. I challenge all of you watching while we have a minute before our first match starts to head over to social media and help us out.
Yeah, looking down the house, I think everybody is done, so we'll have a few minutes here before they get the scores.
As expected, so Chantel Trutwin wants to know how Henry's doing. Going into that game, he was in 17th place, so
yeah, Powell was, you know, he had an up and down day, a few good games, but
yeah, he had a 152, so that really hurt him. That was game 9. He had a 240 or 250 with the win, with the bonus, and then had a 152. So yeah, he went 250 with the bonus pins, 160, then to 280, 150. So yeah, he had a shot. definitely had a shot.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it again, he's only 130 pins out of the show. So it's so stacked from, mid-pack to the top that nobody knows what's going on right now. I think we know one or two things, but who's actually in, unless we sat down and calculated, we won't know for a few minutes yet.
Looks like they're going to move some sponsor boards around, which is understandable, as we do have a ton of good sponsors here. The Grand Hotel, Four Bears Casino and Lodge. I do know Coors Light, First Western Insurance, Farmers Union Insurance. One thing I should mention from Farmers Union Insurance is they donate $300 every year to a $300 pot, which has not been won in 3 years, and it did not get won this year.
Yep.
So next year it'll be $1,500 if you shoot a 300 on Saturday only.
Yep, because I think it's, 2 years in a row we've had a 300 on Sunday.
And this isn't something new. They're re-oiling.
Are they really?
They are. I thought they were just going to go ahead on the burn, and I don't know if that was a decision by the Final Five, but
interesting.
But maybe they're not re-oiling. Maybe he's starting and going down that way so that they have the lanes oiled for league tonight. I'm not sure,
well, that's very possible, I guess.
But I don't know why they wouldn't just start down there. But they could be re-oiling here, so.
It's possible. I know I've seen it a couple years at the K-Fire where they've done that, re-oiled for the Final Five, but that's not something that I don't think has been done up here since I've been here.
Yeah, and it could have. I know there were a couple years where they asked the finalists, and they voted too, and looks like they'll burn a lane here. Lane 28, and they'll likely.
We'll have the checks ready in about 10 minutes.
Okay, so everyone will get their checks here soon. So in about 10 minutes, we should know our Final Five.
I don't think you usually see this many people just standing around waiting to find out.
Right. When we had the actual TV company here producing the show, usually people got away and they got on the road right away. But we have quite a few people in here today, so.
Just looking, I bet there's a solid 75 to 100 people in here still.
Crazy. Oh, looks like we have unofficial results from Darren Hansen. Thank you for that. According to him, Schiffler is 1, Andy Mills is 2, Dan Langer 3, Mike Allen 4th, and Douglas Wagner snuck in the 5th spot. So that is unofficially, but the early reports are that Schiffler, Mills, Langer, Allen, and Wagner are our Final Five.
Wow.
Which means Mike Allen and Douglas Wagner will be our opening match.
Yeah, and again, if their numbers are right, you've got, Justin and Chad just missing out by less than, about 20 pins, but it's,
yeah, wow.
Yeah,
it looks like 6. Yeah, Nelson missed by 30. Coast also. So if Coast, even if he picked that,
it's only 15 more pins. That's still not quite enough.
I think if you're Justin, that might make you feel a little bit better, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's an ugly way to finish as far as your psyche goes, but still, at least knowing that it didn't completely matter.
Right.
It might make you feel a little better in the end, but, he's been close a couple of years, and
well, it looks like they're oiling towards the low end of the house, so this may just be for league, just to kind of get out in front of it while they have a chance.
Yeah, I don't think they were going to probably let anybody in for a little while yet, so.
Right, and if you saw the guy working on the oiler there, that is Robert Ballard, the longtime lane mechanic here at North Hill Bowl, and I will say he does a great job because I didn't see many break down yesterday's qualifying round or today. He's pretty good at what he does.
Yeah, short of a few outer ranges where pin slides over, but
yeah, nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, I mean, not a single one from where I was. Yeah, that shows how well they keep the machines up and are on top of things when they actually do happen.
Absolutely, and it seems like it's that way every year. They do a really good job. And I will like to say we did get our one like we were hoping for on our Facebook
Yep,
page.
finally did.
We hit 1,200 likes today, so thank you to all the fans out there. It's pretty good considering back in November we had 500 likes on the page. So
Yeah, we were just looking for, what, 1,000, I think, on the Sioux Falls trip.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
yeah, we've already got 200 over that. So great things are happening here at NDBowling.com. So if you would please share with everyone you know, social media. Well, now the Oilers going back to 28. Maybe they're burning lanes to re-oil. I don't know. It's a mystery here because it's a lane walker, so they can program it however they want.
Well,
But
they could be burning that pair and then just going back the other way anyways.
yeah, I think they're going to go over to 29 after this. They burn 3 lanes and then.
It's possible. You know what?
But they could put the house pattern back in, and that's what they're doing. They're burning lanes to get the house pattern back in.
Yeah, who knows?
Because that Oilers had this pattern in it for 2 days, so there's no really sense to burn lanes. So
Yep.
that is the biggest entertainment we have right now, folks, is watching the Oiler.
Well, I mean, it's pretty cool when you don't even have to worry about pulling the machine one way or another.
Yeah, brought to you by Kegel,
Oh, how nice it would be to have one of those in my center.
right? And
But,
speaking
yeah.
of your center, I guess that's a good segue into
Hey, why not?
to the NDBowling.com Classic. Our next show will be in Fargo, March 5th and 6th. So we'll be doing the finals of that one on March 6th. If all goes well, we will be using the USBC Open pattern. We haven't decided if it'll be the team or the doubles and singles pattern. I do know they made a change to that rule where they're not going to release the pattern starting next year, but since they will this year, we're going to take full advantage of that.
Yep.
And hopefully all that works out. So if you're looking for another major to bowl, it's the season's final major, and we will hand out the Glenn Haynes Memorial Trophy, a new thing. And if you don't know what that is, go to ndbowling.com. Just scroll down a little bit. We did have a story on that. The trophy does remember the late Glenn Haynes. He did a lot. He was a bowling ambassador down in the Fargo area, and a lot of people do remember him and thank him for what he's done. Oh, and the Oilers going back to 27, so we don't know.
Yep.
But at any rate, if you guys are out there, you want a good tournament to bowl, please look up the NDBowling.com Classic. We do need entries, and it is a great tournament, well run, and will be very competitive. So,
Yep, it's year in, year out, it's one of the hardest cuts to make just because, you can't get 36 people in there, with a 24-lane house. But,
yep.
Top to bottom, it's probably as tough as it is. The top end here is probably far and away the best out of the majors. But, top to bottom, it's anybody's game out there.
Yeah, just look at our past champions out there. It's when you have Mike Morris winning 3 of them,
3 out of 4 at one point.
and last year Eric Harvey won it, Dylan Meyer won it one year, Joel Galley, goes all the way back to Jim Dieterich, Ralph Hennebrey. There's some good people out there that have won that tournament.
Yep, another
So-
3-time champ in Dave Schick, even
Also,
Mike
yes.
Schmidt 2
Mike
years
Schmidt,
ago.
his only appearance at the
Yep.
NDBowling.com Classic, he walked away with the title. So I don't know if he just said, all right, I got this one, don't need to go anymore. But you never know. We might see him down there again. Hopefully, if you're watching this later on, Mike, I'd like to see you down there. That'd
Yeah, we'd
really
love to
fun.
see you back in there. Anytime we can get a World Cup champion.
Two-time World Cup champion.
Yes, 2-time, excuse me. 2-time World Cup champ there.
He's one of 2 guys to ever do that. So,
Really?
yeah, only
That's-
2 people have won it twice, and Mike Schmidt is one of them.
Say I knew that. That's even more impressive. So, that brings out the best of the best.
And
There is a Steelers blanket in there. It's the same thing, right?
well, it looks like people are making fun of my Steelers attire.
Well, when they play here in a little over an hour,
Yeah,
couple hours or whatever.
If for those of you who have seen us produce a show, I carry around a tote with all my stuff, and since there's some very expensive stuff in there, I do have a Steelers blanket in there to kind of protect it. So that's what everyone was kind of yelling at.
Well,
Steelers blanket, yeah.
I don't think a whole lot of people are expecting much from them today,
Yeah,
yourself included.
Even as a fan, when you don't have your leader, then that happens. And we do even have bar service here in the booth.
Wow.
Well, and there goes our Oiler. I think the mystery has been solved. The Oiler is going to the low end. We will be bowling on what is left.
Well, whether or not people like that, I don't know. But
I think if you're Douglas Wagner, you're glad they're bowling on the burn.
probably. Yeah, with how he throws, any kind of friction he gets.
Yeah. So we'll see, if all holds true, only Andy Mills out of the final 5 has been on our show before, and he's looking, and I look back at it, and no one has won the first 2 majors in a row.
Really?
No one out there has done it. So if Andy Mills is victorious today, he'll be the first bowler ever to win Manitoba and Minot in the same season.
Yikes.
That is quite the accomplishment.
That's a hugely impressive feat with those 2 fields.
I agree, and maybe we can convince Andy to come out to the NDBowling.com Classic as well and try to make it a 3 major season. And I don't know if he's tried to get into the KFYR, which maxes out every year, so that's a limited field to 120. They max out every year. They have a lot of locals that like that tournament, so it's really hard for the out-of-staters to get into that one.
It is. I know as of Friday when I was there, they were already at 98. So
with 124 total on the list.
Yes,
so.
That's correct. And with how many people here probably dropped off their checks at Jack Nelson,
yep.
They could be full by the time you get to Monday.
And just a reminder to all you watching right now, the KFYR TV Bowling Classic is the last major that is still on live local television. So it's on NBC at noon if you're in Western North Dakota. That'll be on February 6th or 7th that weekend.
I think it's the 7th, yes.
I think it's the same day as the Super Bowl.
Yes,
so
it
it's
is.
that day at noon. NDBowlTV will not be there because of that, but there has been talk as last year that I might be able to join Lee Timmerman for a little bit to talk about NDBowling.com. So
hey,
that would be cool if that happens.
You know what? Advertisement like that, how many people actually watch that show? That's only going to be better for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. So if you want to catch this season's 3rd major, just turn your TV on to NBC. At noon that Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, you'll see the final 5 of that tournament. Once again, if you're watching and have any questions and want to connect with us here in the booth, just talk to us on the chat room. Looks like Barry Vossler is in the room, the Southpaw Saw. Some bowling news. He said youth bowler Logan Dalbel from Fargo just shot his first 300 at Youth Regionals in Oaks. Very nice. Congratulations to Logan. It's always exciting to shoot your first 300. Once again, if you're just joining us, we're waiting our first match. Unofficially, this is just from people walking around and adding up scores themselves. Justin Schiffler will be our number 1 seed, Andy Mills in 2nd, Dan Langer in 3rd, Mike Allen in 4th, which he had a 300 game in game 11. And then Douglas Wagner with a 277 game in position round with the bonus jumped from 12th to what we believe at this point is 5th. So if these are correct, we will have only 1 returning guy on the show and no past champions. So a lot going on here. Just stay with us as they're just finalizing scores, and we'll get started here shortly.
Evidently, I'm a heavy breather.
Yeah, everyone, it sounds like Ken Fletcher just ran the stairs.
Yeah, I just walked around for about 30 seconds,
Yeah, it sounds like Rocky Balboa over here running the stairs. Once again, if you haven't already, please share our link to the show on social media. Get as many people watching as you can. We will be here for the duration. And once again, it looks like Justin Schiffler could be our number 1 seed with it looked like a late 5-bagger in that game in position round to not only win his match, but jump from 3 to the number 1 seed. So a lot of exciting things happened in our position round. So
yeah, just something cool that walked in front of us here You know, Mike Schmidt was walking and talking with Douglas Wagner.
I got 3 out of 5. I need Mills.
Okay, continue. What'd you
Sorry.
say?
Distracted here for a sec, but looked like Mike Schmidt walking by talking with Douglas Wagner, you know, telling him looked like good job and great bowling, and that's a pretty classy act from, you know, a pretty classy guy from everything that I've seen.
I agree, because, you know, and it goes back to the shootout here back in 2011, I believe.
When Matt won?
When Matt Smallin won. Matt shut him out in the 10th for the win, and it was pretty exciting here. I'll just hold on one second.
Yep.
One with a 27.70 is Justin Schiffler. Number 2 with a 27.35 is Andy Mills. Number 3 with a 27.14, the better Langer, Dan Langer. Number 4, 27.09, it's Mike Allen. And 5th with a 26.97 is Douglas Wagner.
We'll give props to Darren Hansen for calling that one.
And he is a fellow accountant, so I got to give him props for that.
You guys, we'll come over to the ND bowling booth real quick behind 30 and fill out an information sheet for Darren. That'd be great.
Yep.
We're going to get a little info on some of these guys, since I don't know much about them. Dan Langer and Mike Allen for sure, two guys that I don't know a lot about, so it'll be good to get some information from them. Once he is done with announcements here, we'll continue.
26.36 Jason Hansen, and number 10 was 26.21 was Rob Warren.
Okay,
so we have some
so
sheets at the counter if you want one.
Okay, Rory.
Just gonna start writing checks.
Be done.
I'm gonna get this stuff ready to go.
Oh, Rory likes to talk. I think you know that.
29 and 30.
Oh, we all love Rory.
It's hard not to.
Yeah. So going back to the Mike Schmidt thing, that year he got shut out in the finals. You know, Matt's the local guy. People were going crazy, and Mike still went up and tried every shot, and
I think he
nutted
actually
every
threw
shot
all 3. Yeah.
to lose by 1. And you know, everywhere I've seen him bowl, he's the first guy to congratulate you. So
Yep.
very classy guy, good individual. So, and he's a NDBowling.com majors record holder. So
Yeah.
with 7.
What about two lead, right?
Yep. He's got a 2 lead over
Dave Schick, I think, has 5, and
yes.
I want to say somebody else does, but you know better than me, I think.
Okay, it looks like we'll get some information here, and then we'll start our first match, which is going to be Douglas Wagner against Mike Allen. We have a question here from Jeff. Why were they getting upset about Doug yelling? Well, you know, there's some guys that are, you know, they're bowling for $5,000 right now, and you know, there's a lot of matches happening at the time, and when, you know, you just kind of assume you're bowling while other people are bowling a few lanes down. And I know when Doug was over here and he yelled after that shot, you can hear him all the way down to probably like 12 and 13.
Oh, I'm sure the whole house could hear him at that point.
And they're doing only, you know, 2-lane courtesy here, so you know, it catch you in the middle of your backswing. It's going to affect you. You know, you're trained to drown out all the pins and, you know, ball hitting the lane and whatnot, applause. Yep. But that's one thing you don't think of. So
yeah, I mean, it's completely understandable that, you know, people get upset about it, but at the same point, you know, you can't fault a guy for getting fired up about shooting what he did to, you know, jump how many guys to get into a show.
Right.
And, you know, one of his first big tournaments, from what I believe.
He went from, you know, and that game was potentially a $400 game. He went from 12th place to no worse than 5th right now, and he's guaranteed $1,000 on our show.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. And if you know, it's not like Pete Weber. If someone moves in the stands, do not move during my approach. You know, it's just go watch the U.S. Open a couple years ago, where
2012, I believe it was.
The year he won his 5th.
Yep.
Pete Weber did not like people moving in the stands, so it happens to the best of us. So
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, just on a little bit different level.
yep.
You know, you hope to have, you know, the best, you know, everybody behaving themselves as best they can, but it does happen. And
Yeah. And you can't fault either side either.
No,
you know, like
no,
you
absolutely
said,
not.
when you have a chance to strike, to vault yourself in, you know, because he only made the show by 30 pins, and you know, had Coaster picked up that spare, he would have only made the show by like 15.
well, and also, you know, if he strikes out at that point, single pins.
Right, and
know,
so,
so that was
the
potent-
one he yelled on, you know, that was the show for him, and it turned out to be that way. So, you know, you can't fault either side, and you can totally understand either side of it. So,
Yeah, I would admit that, you know, if I was in his shoes, I would probably be doing the same thing.
absolutely.
You know, when I get in that position, I tend to be a little bit fiery.
Yeah,
as
I've never known to yell, though, I don't think. So
Yeah,
I'm more
may-
of a bull angry kind of guy.
Yeah, you know, maybe not quite to that extent, but yeah, you probably would have heard me a little bit had I'd been in that position. So
Yeah, a few years ago when Mike Schmidt, he shot about 270 from the 8 spot and jumped into the show. He was the same way. He'll start yelling out on the approach as well. So you'll see it from a lot of people, and I think you'll see it out here on our show here today, because they're with the group we have. You know, Wagner and Schiffler in there. Those guys are pretty fired up right now.
yep.
And then I think you got a little bit of everything in our show right now. You have youth, experience, and one thing we don't have, though, is a past champion. So we will have our 13th different winner. And whoever that may be, if you're not going to be able to watch our entire show, you can watch it on the archive shortly following the completion here. I think about a half an hour after the show is over, it'll be uploaded to the archive. You can watch whenever you want. Sure. And there will also be a tournament recap on NDBowling.com tomorrow, so look for that if you want to see all the details and complete results.
Yep. At this point, I'm not sure what we're waiting for.
Yeah, I don't either. But
We've got all the numbers. We know who's in it. We know where we're bowling.
yeah,
So
I guess it's just technicalities at this point. Hopefully there are no more errors.
I would imagine there's probably not, as long as they spent after, before position
Right,
round.
yep. And you got to really make sure at this point, because if you know you're not in the show, a lot of people are starting to head home. So
And that may be just what they're waiting for, is kind of to let everything, the hustle bustle clear out a little bit, so guys can concentrate a little bit more right now. 'Cause, they're all going for $5,000.
yeah,
That's a lot of money to bowl for.
and arguably one of the most prestigious majors to win, one of the hardest ones to win, with how deep the field is, how many people bowl. You bowl 12 games of match play on Sunday, which is really tough to do,
Yep.
especially when you bowled 8 yesterday. So all these guys on our show have bowled 20 games, not counting practice balls. So
And just think of guys like Justin and Andy, who I believe they both bowled last week.
they did.
That's 40 games in a matter of 8 days, 8-9 days.
That's crazy.
And if they practice in the week, that's a lot of bowling. And that's a lot of wear on your hand, especially, and your body.
Yeah.
You've got to be in shape for this. I think we can all attest to that.
Yeah, for those of you who don't think bowling is a sport, please come out to a tournament like this, make the cut, throw a 15-pound bowling ball, 20 games over a weekend, and let us know how you feel.
All right, so we're going to get 29 and 30 ready to go. We'll have practice. Lane will be 35 and 36.
Okay, so it looks like we're getting close to getting underway here. Our first match is Douglas Wagner against Mike Allen. Let's get a little background on those two. Let's start with Douglas Wagner. He is bowled for 16 years, high game of 300, high series of 838.
Just finishing up the checks.
Didn't put his age on here, did he?
He's in his early 20s. I don't know exactly, but
Yeah, I think his first year at college was last year, so he's got to be around 20.
yeah.
He was the MJBT Rookie of the Year. He has 5 Minnesota Junior Bowlers Tour wins. The youngest 300 in North Dakota.
That's
14
impressive,
years old.
considering how many good young bowlers North Dakota has had.
He is the North Dakota Pepsi champion. A lot of you who I think that was kind of dissolved this year, but
Something
it's
back in
called
order.
something else now. But the Pepsi champion for 3 years in a row, 2012, 2013, and 2014. And he did make cut at the Junior Gold Tournament. He finished 110th out of 1,200, which is pretty good because you and I have both bowled in that Junior Gold Tournament. That's tough to make cut.
You know what? I remember being happy for being just about in the middle of the pack when I made it the 1 year, and you know, to finish just outside of the top 100, that's an impressive feat. Because that's, you know, junior bowlers from the entire country get to bowl that.
Okay, and then we have Mike Allen. He's from Chamberlain, South Dakota. He won the Sherburne Scratch Tournament in Aberdeen in approximately 2011. I don't think he can remember the exact year, but
I think I remember it happening, actually.
he bowled a 300 left and right-handed. Then
Wow.
That's that's impressive.
I don't know what you say about that. You know, I think any of us who bowl, we've all tried to bowl with the opposite hand, and most of us can do it, but to that effect,
I have a hard time getting a double left-handed.
I have a hard time just keeping it on the lane.
So, Mike Allen, and he is the former owner of the Bowling Dome in Chamberlain until June, so I think he just got out of that or just sold it. So a guy who's got 36 years of bowling experience under his belt. He's had obviously a 300 game with both hands and a high series of 825. So
that's a nice little resume for him there.
Oh, and he's a self-hunting and fishing guide. So if any of you outdoorsy people out there in South Dakota, get a hold of Mike Allen in Chamberlain. He's a hunting and fishing guide. So
well, I mean,
that's pretty cool.
There's a lot of land to do that in South Dakota. So hey, it's a good business to get into.
Absolutely, and a lot of, that's the main thing to do around here. Hunting, fishing, and everything else. So.
If you're not outside when you can be there, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah, because right now it's like 30 below, so.
Oof.
And we talked about this last night, and this winter has been so nice. And the only times it has been below zero all winter were when we went to Winnipeg, and this weekend to the Morris Anderson and Minot.
Yep.
And right after this tournament is over, it's going to get nice again. So.
That's how it works, though, isn't it? It's bowling season. Hey, let's get cold when we're going to have a tournament.
Always does. Well, we're just kind of finishing up, paying everyone off here, the checks and everything else. Each guy looks like they'll get 2 balls on each lane. It is Douglas Wagner against Mike Allen in our opening match. Looks like we have a good crowd here watching online, so if you could please share the link on social media with everyone you know, that would be greatly appreciated. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have a chance. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Everything does help. We do appreciate everything the fans do for us. Once again, our #1 overall seed is Justin Schiffler. He will be guaranteed a $3,000 check at the end of the day as our #1 seed, because he can finish no worse than second. In second place, and could be the story of the year, Andy Mills, the winner from last week's Manitoba Open. No one has ever won the first 2 majors of the year. And one thing I would like to note about Andy Mills, through 2 games yesterday, he was in 123rd place. That is 4 spots, or was he 3 spots up from the bottom?
Yep.
And just went on a run and ended up qualifying, 23rd? Yes.
23rd, yep.
So he jumped 100 spots in 6 games and is now on our TV show here. So big possibilities going on here.
That's a testament to how good he has been bowling as of late.
Absolutely.
I know on our show in Sioux Falls, he was the top seed there as well.
Yep.
So
I think he finished 4th. He might have been the first guy out. Yep.
He was, and it was a tough position for him to be in. But
yeah, he didn't bowl until the last eliminator in that one, so he was kind of sat around while all the other matches went on for a while. So
yeah, but top seed last week, winning it all, and second seed here. It's you almost say it's a repeat of what Clayton Moore did last year, where Clayton dominated early on and had one heck of a start to the tournament season. It's kind of the same thing Andy's doing this year.
Yeah, Clayton Moore was our #1 seed in Winnipeg last year. He did lose to the eventual winner, Michael Schmidt, and then he came here to the Morris Anderson and won. So You know, another outstanding feat for him, but Andy Mills does have the opportunity to win the season's first 2 majors, which is something I've never seen done. That's pretty impressive.
It certainly will be if it happens. He's got you know, whoever he ends up facing and Justin Schiffler, it's going to be good matches.
And I will like to point out as well, in our preview, if any of you guys watched or read the Morris Anderson Memorial preview that we put out on NDBowling.com last Wednesday, one of the topics was the last 4 winners have come from Minnesota. And today, Dan Langer has to win to keep that streak alive, because Douglas Wagner is out of the Fargo area.
Yep.
Mike Allen out of South Dakota. Andy Mills from Wisconsin. Oh, Justin Schiffler actually is also from Minnesota. So there's a couple guys in there that could keep that streak alive. But Douglas Wagner is the North Dakota hope right now.
There's always one, it seems like.
So it looks like our players have had their 2 shots on each lane, and we'll get started here.
Going to be an interesting match from the practice balls, a little bit I saw.
And I'd just like to remind you before we get started that you're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network. Brought to you by Ebonite, the official bowling ball sponsor of NDBowlTV. And we'll remind you once again to stay connected on social media. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're about to get underway in our first opening match here at the 13th annual Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout, playing for a top prize of $5,000. Looks like Douglas Wagner will be starting up on the left. Mike Allen did have lane choice.
You know what? I think that's a smart move by Mike, you know, the veteran. Having Douglas finish the match, you know, somebody who's never been here, young kid.
Yeah.
See what he's got.
So, looks like we're about to get underway here. Yes.
Eventually.
So, I mean, you and I have both been in a lot of match play matches growing up, you know, in the junior circuit. Did you like to, you know, were you a kind of guy that always wanted to start first, finish first, or were you mostly based on what lane you were good and what lane you were not?
You know what? I honestly never paid attention to lanes, you know, which one I was better on in juniors. It was more, you know, if I had the choice, I like to always finish last. You know, I'd rather have it in my hands if I could than, you know, leave it to somebody else.
I agree, and I was always the kind of guy that, you know, I'll take my 2 shots and I want to finish on my good lane. So that's kind of how I decided it. A lot of people, when they bowl match play, they always want to finish first, so they always want to finish last.
Yep.
So, you know, it's a personal opinion thing, and that first shot there by Douglas Wagner, I think he's a little amped up. And first TV show, just sent that one through the break point. Let's see if he can convert it. Hard way.
Oh, almost.
Okay, well, you know, first shot jitters. You know, I've been on a TV show before too, and I luckily struck my first ball. But you know, it gets different. You know, especially when you're bowling in a major, you're bowling for $5,000.
Yep, and you know, we watched position run. We've been sitting here for a little while. It's a tricky pair.
It
you
is.
Know,
yep.
The shot from in doesn't look great. I mean, Chad threw a nice game the last in position round, but you know, I'm not sure what to think. And you know, you see Mike right there playing outside, but leaving the bucket.
And I think what we saw from both our players on their opening shot there is a lot of what we saw in this tournament the whole time is players had to struggle to find that friction down lane to get to the pocket.
Yep.
And you know, the ball seemed to set up at like 45 feet and then just kind of float in the back end.
Yeah, and I think you saw that right there on both of those shots. You know, Mike looked like he got in a pretty good spot, and it never picked up.
And that is a good spare conversion for Mike Allen. The bucket on this has been difficult this week.
Yep.
And he did the smart thing there by going left and throwing straight at it, so it took the chop out of contention there.
Yep, you know, both guys getting the first shot jitters out of the way, and we'll should be a match now.
So second shot got that a little wide, but it hooked.
Ooh, almost rolled the 2-pin, but probably a good 9 right there.
And once again, the cut to day 2 was -20, so the scores were pretty low this year. It was the lowest cut that I've seen in a while. Some notable people that made cut, we'll start from the bottom here, past champion Richard Vitko, Jack Nelson, who was I think 3-time major champion, won three times at the KFYR. Let's see, Mike Larson, once again, we talked about him earlier. Dan Bach. Tad Schmidt.
Adam Peters, a major champion as well.
Michael Schmidt, Sam Lanto, Jason Polrice. And a lot of good bowlers out here today, and a lot of big names to miss a cut as well, which was surprising. So Douglas Wagner up in the second frame. It's a better shot. Seeing that one hooked on him.
Yeah, and that's, again, that's what I saw with Chad playing in is, he'd get it a little wide and it just never rolled up, and then so you try and tighten up and then goes through the face.
Yep.
It's one of those
touch and go.
It's one of those. At this point, do you try and fish and move a little right with it, or do you just have to get left and play the old fallback shot?
Right, or if you're good with playing around with your speed too. It's a very speed sensitive pattern, so if you amp it up a little bit, I think you can,
And they're good at what they do, but and again a little bit wide.
Yeah, I do apologize if our stream cut out there for a minute. Don't know what happened, but it looks like we're back, ready to go.
Yeah, it likes to happen when you're running 100 feet of cable.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully we don't have any more interruptions. We have a pretty good connection here today, so we're able to stream in HD, so. Oh, cool.
And I wonder if that was a little tester ball on that spare shot.
Yeah, and I did that a couple times yesterday. When you leave something on the left side, you just want to move right a little bit and throw your same shot because it hooks in the middle, and then you throw it and it doesn't hook.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing happened there. So
It'd be interesting to see what he does, But also coming off the big game that he had, I don't want to say you're due for a letdown, but that was a lot of energy he expended in that position round.
Mike Allen up. We're in the third. Now that one went high on him.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a move right.
Yeah, compensating for the last shot. We will try to answer any questions that you have. Looks like we do have some messages here. Let's see if we can look that up. Good shot there by Mike.
Yep, that was a little better.
So now Douglas Wagner up in the fourth.
Looks like a ball switch.
Yeah, he's got to get his feet under him here and get comfortable, and because he can strike if he can turn it on. So
yeah, if he gets comfortable, he'll be a handful, but got to get there first. Again, just a little in and it picks up on him.
So it looks like Doug is trying to find a reaction here on our championship pair, and a little over-under. Common frustration for many people out there. Ooh. I think he thought he had that pretty good, but it almost hooked through and took out just the 3-6. once again, the winner of this match will go to take on Dan Langer, and we'll get to know him in that match. We'll starting on this tournament. I borrowed some info sheets from Jeff, and we're going to be having these at all of our tournaments to be able to get some info on our Final Five when we do the stepladder only shows. Wagner up in the 5th. Looking for a strike to kind of get his feet under him a little.
Looked like he moved in a little bit more and just... you wonder what's going through his head right now.
Well, what I see out of Doug, and we watched him bowl 300 earlier while we were setting up our cameras, and then the 270 a couple pairs off of our set here. And in both of those cases, he looked like he committed to the shot at the line, like he was really solid at the line. And now it looks like he's trying to be careful with it a little bit. And you and I both know that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and you and I both know that that's something you can't do in this. You got to be aggressive. You got to commit to your shot. And it looks like he's just not trying to win, but trying not to lose. And I think that's a big difference.
Yeah, you know what? You wonder if we were able to start right away after position round if. He keeps the momentum going and he's able to throw good shots, but it's tough when you've got a long break like that.
Yeah, and it's your first show.
Yeah.
Mike Allen from the corner.
Oh, ooh. Well,
pays the penalty. I don't think he really believed the reaction, but that was out there on the lane because he stood there and looked out the lane for a little bit.
That didn't look terrible, and then, just not a good break leaving the 4-6. So,
and it looks like both of our players have moved quite a bit. Made ball changes. So I think both of them are fairly lost on this pattern, or this pair at least. So, and one thing that's a little bit different this year, we moved our championship pair down to 29 and 30 just for the ease of, the logistics of the center and what allows us to set up. And normally in the position round, they put the 1 and 2 on our championship pair, but being that we're kind of in like a third of the right third of the center,
yep.
There's no real easy way to do that. So we actually have the 7-8 matchup here. And, sometimes when you have the position round close to the championship pair, a lot of people know what's going on in this pair, but these guys,
Yep, both of them were a couple pairs away from it, so...
And despite the struggles from Doug Wagner early, he's still got a chance in this match. And
ooh, yeah, that was a big break because he opens there, and this still, it's still a match regardless. But that throws it right back into Douglas Wagner's court.
And I know people out there sitting at home, and this pattern is tough. It's a 2.19 to 1 ratio oil pattern, so sport compliant, and one of the toughest they've had in quite a few years. So you can tell, one strike in our first 5-6 frames here. So it's a really tough pattern, and I think these guys are really trying to, and they're both playing different parts of the lane. So, and they're both, having the same struggles. So.
But, still 4 frames left, and anybody's match if they can find something here.
Right. It's a big shot for Doug to get going. That looks better if it holds.
Just same thing.
Yeah, and he's kind of rolling it off his hand. It seemed like the shots down over on 25-26 when he shot that 270. He was really aggressive, and his speed kind of took over, and now off his hand, he's not as aggressive, and the ball's rolling a lot more. So,
and you wonder if that's maybe from those first couple shots where he missed the head pin right.
That is true.
He's trying to soften up, but now it's not projecting out to the right, and everything's going through the nose. So,
on the spare.
Yep.
Well, it's, through 6 here. It's only a 13-pin match, despite the early struggles by both players.
Yeah,
it looks like he's making another ball change to what I believe is a skyrocket.
Yep.
One of the new balls from Storm. It's a good ball. I've seen a lot of those out. I think he was throwing the Eternal Cell before that.
I can't quite tell. You know, there's so many storm balls that are that color.
Well, you know, big ball change here in the 7th for Wagner. Let's see if he can get it going. You know, I think a double in this match is going to go a long way the way it's going.
Yeah, considering we've got 1 strike through 6 frames. Oh, and that one's gone.
And that's not the kind of count you want off a spare, so
No.
that'll hurt. Got to cover the spare here and then try to regroup.
Yeah, that was just bad shot. He knows it. Everybody watching knows that that was not a good shot.
Right, and you and I both bowled the qualifying round yesterday, and I can tell you, you know, watching Doug bowl is reminding me of my day yesterday. Ooh.
Well, I mean, got the spare, and you know what? Relatively close.
Yeah.
May be able to learn something off of that, but he's already going back to the bag.
Yesterday, I'd take one ball out, I'd throw a good shot, and it wouldn't make it up the hill. I'd take out more surface, throw a good shot, it would go nose. So it's really tough to find that one reaction that gets you to the pocket. And, you know, some lanes were good, some pairs were bad, and
Yep. Yeah, we
think we're
both
seeing
saw
that.
it.
Big shot for Mike to take advantage.
So that was good.
Really good shot there. I think this is where, you know, if there's any experience out there for Mike, this is where it'll take over.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Crunch
won.
time.
Yeah, he's won tournaments before, as he said, and you know, 36 years of experience. It's hard to, you know, it's hard to not account for that right now. You know, a guy who's been bowling probably 15 years longer than Douglas has been alive.
Yeah. And if you guys are just joining us, we got to know Mike a little bit, and one interesting bit of information is he shot a 300 both left and right-handed, and I think that's pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
Shot looks pretty good.
Might be all right. Yeah.
Got
Yep.
the 10 out, and that's a big double in this match.
That goes a long way for his confidence right now, too.
And now Doug Wagner, another ball change to a little more surface. Maybe he'll go left and try to get firm with it. Looks like a radical ball.
Yep. Don't know radical bowling very well, but
I believe they have a primo. I think that's what it might be called. Let's see what he does here.
yeah, a little bit firmer with it, but
I think that ball with the cover on it just burns up too much in the front, so it didn't have any in the back end. So
yeah, he's fishing. I mean, at this point too, after that double from Mike, you know, you wonder if he's starting to mentally be like, you know, this is done if I don't hit them all.
once again, the winner of this match will take on Dan Langer, the one guy out in this match. I don't like to call them losers, you know, the loser of the match, but the guy eliminated in this match will take home a $1,000 payday, which is still pretty good.
Yeah, I think anybody would take that right now. Oh, that was a little better.
We do get a shout out from Randy Peterson. He is watching NDBowlTV from Orlando. He's a North Dakota Bowling Hall of Famer, so thanks, RP, for the shout out.
Glad to hear it.
Mike Harris also mentioned that this may be Mike Allen's first trip to Minot for the Morris Anderson. So if that's the case, that's a pretty good track record.
yeah, it is. I can't say that I remember seeing him here before, but
you know, for a guy that's been around as long as he has, it's surprising. But he was the owner of the Bowling Dome, so he probably had things going on. This is a busy time. So
yeah, absolutely. Ooh. Lucky to leave just a 2-8 there. Kick out the 7-pin. But at this point, he just has to fill frames, and Mike's going to go on to face Dan Langer if he can, you know, fill 9th and 10th.
So it's been a good year here at NDBowlTV. We do have the new scoring camera up, and I hope all of you enjoy that who are watching. Took a lot to get the new scoring up here and everything that goes with that. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and I know a lot of people have enjoyed that. It's a lot better than me explaining the score the whole time.
You can actually just focus on the bowling.
Yeah.
So right here, Mike just needs a mark, any kind of count with a mark, and he shuts him out.
Yep, Douglas Wagner can only max out at, what, 171?
Yep. Mike already in the 180s.
Once again, Justin Schiffler is our #1 overall seed. Andy Mills, last weekend's Manitoba Open winner, is #2. Dan Langer will be up next as #3 seed. And I know up in Winnipeg, we alternated lanes in the finals here. All 4 matches will be on 29 and 30, our championship pair. Mike Allen for the win.
Ooh, boy.
Well,
That
is already enough. Or is it not?
No, that's not enough.
So if he gets 2 here, he'll have 168.
That's a
Doug would need a double and what, 7?
double and 8 to
Double and 8 to win.
Double and 8 to win. And how difficult is this? I picked it up once in my life. I think I've seen it done 3 times.
Yeah, this is a really tough spare, but if you're Mike Allen, do you just get the 2, get the count?
Yeah, at this point, just get the count. You've seen him throw 1 strike, so you need the 2, which he's got.
Right, and look at Doug's score. Getting 8 isn't a promise either. So,
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, you've got to get 2 strikes, and if he does that, you still have to get 8 pins to to win it. And
well, this, as a young bowler, everyone wants this opportunity. Go up in the 10th frame for a chance to win a match in a major, and he's got a chance right here.
yep, this is all I ever want when I bowl. Just this right here.
Let's see if he can step up.
Is that going to push?
Nope, and that'll do it.
Yep.
Mike Allen will advance, and I think he's kind of in disbelief over his shot there in the 10th.
Yeah. He knows he's fortunate, and to still be bowling. I don't think it matters at this point. He's just happy he won.
So Douglas Wagner will take home $1,000 for his efforts, and I'd say, being in 12th place going into position round, I'd take that any day.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? For a first time up here for, a 20-ish-year-old kid, that's one impressive feat to see him make the show, especially the way he did it.
Absolutely. So congratulations to Douglas Wagner on a 5th place finish. Up next is Dan Langer. Let's get to know Dan a little bit. Let's see. Dan Langer is from Owatonna, Minnesota. The brother of David Langer, past champion here. He has won 1 PBA regional. We don't know when that was. Good applause there for the youngster. He's had multiple 300s and 800s. He's won 4 CBA doubles titles with Dave Langer. And he says he's the better looking of the 2 Langers, lumpy Dave Langer. So,
Who I will like to say that we did see at Applebee's Friday night.
Dave's a good guy. Like I said, past champion here. Always a good bowler.
Remember a couple years ago, Dan at our 6-game singles at Sunset shot something like 1580 for 6 games. I wasn't there that day. I wish I was. I think it included a 300 and a 280, and it was, I think he was first by about 180 pins. It was just. I heard
impressive.
I heard the scores and I heard Langer, and I just assumed it was Dave. And when I heard it was Dan, it's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose he kind of gets overshadowed a little bit, but here today he's front and center. So
he's got a chance to say, hey, there's another Langer.
yes, there is. Once again, we are in our quarterfinal match. Dan Langer against Mike Allen. Dan Langer out of Owatonna, Minnesota. Mike Allen out of Chamberlain, South Dakota. They'll get 2 shots on each lane, or No, just Dan will
will,
get
yep.
2 shots in each lane.
Be interesting to see what he tries to do. Just given how that
Yeah,
both shots looked, frankly.
Yeah, while we have a minute, I want to remind everyone you're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network. Brought to you by Ebonite, the official bowling ball sponsor of NDBowlTV. And if you have a minute while you're watching our show, please head over to Facebook and like us on our Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter. And subscribe to our channel on YouTube. That would be greatly appreciated. I challenge everyone out there watching to do so. And once again, at the completion of our tournament, we'll try to get a word with our champion and maybe the runner-up. And then we'll all be on our way. Once again, our next show will be down in Sunset Lanes at the NDBowling.com Classic, the season's final major on March 6th. If you would like more information on that tournament, head over to NDBowling.com. We don't have a poster out yet, but we will shortly. There's also an event on Facebook. Go check it out. We have a story up there on the trophy we're giving away this year, the Glenn Haynes Memorial Trophy. It's very nice and has drawn a lot of interest so far. We are also giving away a Ebonite Game Breaker 2 to the high qualifier on Saturday. So a lot of exciting incentives in that tournament. If you guys want a chance to bowl for a major title, head over to Sunset Lanes in Moorhead, where we plan on using the USBC Open pattern, one of the 2 patterns, while we have a chance to do that this year. So make sure you do that. We'll be underway in our quarterfinal match here. Dan Langer of Owatonna, Minnesota against Mike Allen out of South Dakota. The winner of that match will take on Manitoba Open champion Andy Mills, who is still alive to be the first guy ever to win both Manitoba and the CMA Memorial Shootout in the same season.
One of the few to probably win multiple majors in a season, too.
That's true. There are a few out there, but it's impressive. I know Mike Schmidt has come to this tournament with a few chances at winning the first 2 majors because he's won Manitoba 6 times.
Yeah, and I think made the show probably a couple times with it too.
And he may have actually been the Manitoba winner the year he came here and lost to Matt by a pin. So
2011.
It's possible.
Yeah, that could have been because there was a couple-year gap, I think, between his most recent 2. So it's possible.
Once again, if you guys are watching, join us on the chat room there. And we're underway. Kicks out the split, so once again, Mike Allen, Dan Langer had lane choice here. He chose to start first.
Interesting choice considering his 2 practice shots on 30.
Yeah.
29, granted he was in the pocket but didn't hit very well, but 30 knows in this too, so he may see something that we don't.
Yeah, there's a reason he's bowling and we're not.
That's for sure.
So good spare and
good spare to get that out of the way and get going now.
So now Mike Allen's back up. We'll see if he makes any adjustments off the last game. I know his last frame was less than what he wanted, especially on 29 where he left that. So we'll see if he makes any adjustments over there. Okay.
That was a good shot.
The ball he's throwing now is a radical ball, and it's the same one he shot 300 on, which was a pair to the left, I believe, that he shot that on, 27-28.
Yep, it was.
So he's back to throwing that ball now. Let's see if he makes an adjustment on 29, though. He did leave the 2-8-10 in the 10th frame on that lane, so we'll see if he makes an adjustment here. Looks okay if it hooks. If it hooks.
Same kind of thing. I mean, I think it's about where he was in that in the last game. Just didn't do anything.
Yeah, and we mentioned this in the last match. This is no easy spare either. On this pattern, you got to have enough to get the back pin out. And Mike chooses to throw straight at this one, which is probably a smart idea. Very good spare.
Good spare again. You know what? It might only take 190s to win today, the way the spare looks too.
Dan Langer up in the second. Looks like he's playing considerably left of Mike Allen.
That's exactly what we saw last match and in his couple practice shots too. You know, guys are afraid to get it right at this point because it's washout city. You get it just a little right of that.
Yeah, I had the same problem. You know, once you get left, you have to be really precise with your speed and angle of attack, because if you can't get it to the spot, it's going nose, and if you project it through the spot, you're going to wash out, or 2-8-10.
Yep, that's a good spare though. I don't know, early on, but the outside line doesn't look great, but I think it looks a little better than what's in.
And that takes me back to last week in our Manitoba Open show. A lot of people played left, and going into the show and most of the match play, Andy Mills was kind of parallel right of everyone.
Yep.
And he found a really good reaction with his Brunswick Nirvana, and he ended up, running over people. And, we're watching him down here on the practice pair, and he threw a couple shots where he's playing right, and it looks like his reaction is pretty good down on 35-36, but that's completely different from this pair
also,
over here.
Yeah, 3 pairs away, so who knows, but that was a nice shot from Dan there.
Okay, Mike Allen up in the third now, working on a spare.
Oh boy.
What a good shot by Mike.
Not much you can say about that.
Well, got to cover the spare. You can't let it get to your head.
Yeah, I mean, that happens.
And that's a tough thing about a pattern like this. You struggle to find a good reaction to the pocket, and I know it's happened to both of us yesterday, how you finally throw a really good shot and then something like that happens.
Yeah, it can be deflating, but you know what? At this point, just put it behind you. I mean, he seems to be throwing good shots on that right line, that's for sure, but I think if he comes away with a good one here, he should have some confidence going forward.
Absolutely. I think the main thing is to stay out of trouble on this pattern and keep filling frames, and you'll give yourself a chance. Looked like he moved a little bit on that lane to try to get the ball to cover the pocket a little more. And
yeah, just maybe tightened up his line a little bit. I don't think he was too far off, but that was a good shot, so I think he should be relatively happy with those 2 frames.
So now Dan Langer up here in the fourth, looking for a rare double on our championship pair. So,
and a rare strike on the right lane for somebody playing in.
Yeah, did he get that far enough right?
No.
Oh, and it slid the 7 over. And what looked like a possibility of a good break taking the 7 out, it just slid over to about the 7.5.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to wait to get that respotted quick. And
they're already
Robert
on top
Ballard
of it.
in the back is already on it. So
he's probably sitting right over top of that watching it.
So a shout out to Bobby in the back.
I don't know how many times I saw that happen. you know, yesterday, pin sliding and doing exactly what it just did.
Yeah, this is a heavy volume pattern, so I'm sure there's a lot of oil down towards the back half of the lane.
Hook a little.
Yeah, he went for it.
And
hopefully the count doesn't come back to
yeah, I mean,
bite him later.
It's actually a couple pins off where he's going to fix it, but I mean, especially on a strike that could hurt later on.
Yep. You know, you went from a 4 count, you know, in the count column to a 1, so. Now, if you're Mike Allen, you know, you can go up here in the 5th frame and really take control of this match.
And another kind of bad break that didn't look that bad.
So now, you know, this brings up a whole new topic. You know, we've got, you know, Douglas Wagner is playing inside. Dan Langer also playing inside. The only guy that's kind of playing right and taking the angles out of play is Mike Allen.
Yep.
And it looks like he's, you know, staying out of trouble, filling frames. And, you know, when Mike has been missing, yeah, he paid the ultimate penalty in the 10th the last frame. But for the most part, it's been, you know, a bucket conversion or, you know, or a buried 8-pin.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, eliminating the angles is kind of Mike Allen's, you know, attack mode right now. So, and that's proving an advantage for him.
At this moment it is. I mean, I know watching Justin in position round, he was playing what looked like about the same angle. You know, you wonder if that's something that Andy has in his game. You'd think he does at his level.
Absolutely.
That looks a little left.
Oof. But, you know, he's playing a straighter angle. He left himself a makeable spare. And,
yeah,
you know,
I mean,
with 2 opens on the board for Dan, filling frames is going to be important to put this one away.
Yep. And he's shown that he can do that, you know. Very good spare game for what we've seen today so far. Oh, yeah.
That had chop written all over
Yeah,
it going down the lane.
Taking a little bit of extra time here. Maybe trying to gather himself.
It's a big shot for him.
A little right, but
Oh, no.
just roll off the back.
Almost. And that, I thought that was a pretty good shot.
It did. It looked like it got up the hill enough, but just couldn't quite kick it out. But you know what? Easy spare.
Yep, just fill frames. That was the theme all week. And that
And
might have
just
been
as we say that.
might have been the jinx from the booth here. Sorry, Mike. Well, now if you're Dan, you know, you put a couple strikes here, you could cut this lead to 1 with a 3-bagger. So now he's back in it.
At this point, it's about this right lane, I think.
I think on a lot of our shows, the right lane hooks more. It seems like every show we've been doing so far.
Well, you think about it. Left lane, you've got all the room in the world if you're a right-hander to move left.
Yep.
Not so much the case in the right lane.
Yeah, it looks like Dan's kind of walking around the ball return as he takes his first couple steps. So.
And here, a bowler's worst nightmare.
Yeah, this is a tough spare, especially trying to get the 9 out.
I mean, he's got the hand on the side turn to do it, but not the spare you want to shoot.
Yeah, and the 9 is back there for those of you wondering. I suppose you can look at the score and figure that out as well. Hardware.
Close. Oh. Good break getting the 10 out of it. Still, I mean, still anybody's match at this point. Just got to find a way to throw a double.
Okay, once again, the winner of this match will take on Manitoba Open champion Andy Mills in our semifinal. The winner will get Justin Schiffler, the #1 overall seed. So a lot of exciting bowling coming ahead. If you guys haven't already, please share the link on Facebook and on Twitter. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. That looks like if you fed that one a little wider, but it just didn't have the roll to take out the corners. So that's a problem that I had yesterday. I know you did too.
Yeah, at times, that's for sure. You know, you think you get into a good spot and it just floats a little bit longer than you want, and you're leaving weak 10s all day.
So as Mike proved earlier, 10 pin is no guarantee here. Hey, good spare.
Yep.
Well, he cut into that lead a little bit. I do enjoy every time somebody walks by our set, they duck. And really, I think you could have like a 6-footer walk by without ducking and they wouldn't be in the camera shot. So
I think you get the top of their head sometimes coming across.
That looks
Ooh,
left.
Yeah, it's left again.
Ooh,
Left enough,
away.
though.
I hope. Suppose if you're going to miss
bad.
by a lot, yes.
Miss bad, that's always my motto.
Yep. Yeah, now let's see if he can take advantage of that.
It's close. Ooh.
I'm a firm believer when you trip 4, that means you're throwing it good. So, you know, a big break there for Mike. You know, he didn't throw the best of shots on the right lane and got away with one. And then, you know, as I always say, cash it in, Haas. Take it to the bank.
First double seems to win the matches right now, and that could be the case again. We got that one right, and
it's so close. It's not like he fed that one that far right, but it got far enough where it never turned the corner. I think he's fortunate enough to, you know, at least leave a spare he can pick here.
Yeah. Could have been another 2-8-10 pretty easily.
Yeah, I saw a lot of those 2-4-8-10 combinations yesterday.
I think I left 3 or 4 myself.
We left a lot of things.
Yes, we did.
He elects to hook at it.
Uh-oh. And he knew it when he let it go.
Yep. And now you know we go back to Mike Allen. He threw straight at 2 of those already on our show, and I was pretty confident in throwing at those. So, you know, if you're out there watching, if you're a bowler looking to bowl on a pattern like this, the only thing I can say is throw straight at your spares. You know, I like to hook the ball at the bucket. You know, and you can ask a good friend Matt Smallin, who does not like the bucket at all. He likes to throw straight at it too. So there's good shot there.
Good shot.
You know, how do you like to throw at the bucket? You know, I know on a house pattern I like to hook at it. If I'm on a tougher shot where the middles are really inconsistent, I'd like to throw straight at it.
A house pattern, it's easy enough to hook at it. You know what? You throw a little bit right, it's probably going to hook back. But, you know, I have such a problem throwing straight at anything right now that, I mean, it is absolutely the smarter way to go. You know, if it's a 2-8, that's a little different story in my mind, but a bucket, you've got a little bit of leeway.
Ooh, and that one hooked at like the last second down lane, and I think that was enough to get the 10 out.
Probably saved him.
Yeah, because I saw a 2-8-10.
But again, you know what? In 2 for 9th and 10th, he needs 1 mark here to shut out Dan.
Yeah, so pick this up and he'll be on his way.
Yep, you go to the 10th frame and
Good count.
yep, just maybe fish a little bit for something, see if you've got a better look with another ball.
I'll give you a hug.
And see, he had the bucket combination and threw straight, but now with just the 2-8 there, he goes cross lane to hook at it. So, you know, it's interesting to watch certain players and how they attack certain spares. And, you know, it's whatever you're comfortable with.
Yep. You know, I mean, the 2-8 though, there's so little margin for error if you're throwing straight at it. The bucket, at least, you know, if you miss it a little bit left, you might be able to get the kick with the 4-pin. Or
Yeah, you don't have a
vice
problem
versa.
getting the 8 out either. So
Yeah, usually not. I mean, there's ways you can miss it throwing it straight, but more often than not, that's probably the smarter way to go with it. Looks like he moved in a little bit on that. That was
yeah,
a good shot.
it's like a parallel left move that
Yep.
he made there.
And I
well-
mean, that sews it up right there.
Well, Mike Allen will advance, and he'll take on Andy Mills in our semifinal. And we were made aware that this is Mike Allen's first appearance in the Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout. So if he is able to, you know, and he could have bowled one way earlier, and you know when the
It's
Morris first started, it's possible. That's unconfirmed. That was a, you know, given to us by Mike Harris, so it is possible. It's his first one. He'll be taking on Andy Mills, who is, you know, trying to play the role of this year's Clayton Moore,
Yeah.
trying to make every TV show that we have going on here. So
And you know, it's impressive too, coming from Wisconsin.
yeah, they drove all the way from Wisconsin to Manitoba last week, came away with the win, and then turned around 4 days later and drove up to Minot, North Dakota for the shootout here today. So, you know, I know Jeff and all them really appreciate the support from so far away, and they're good bowlers, so I think their trip is well worth it at this point.
Well, you know, when the last how many years you've seen both Nick and Andy on the show,
Yes.
that shows the quality that they are.
Yeah, they travel together everywhere they go. Let's get to know Andy a little bit. Let's see, high game 300, high series 858. That's pretty impressive. High average 246. I think if anyone, I think I see Andy Mills' league scores on Facebook more than I see anything else.
You know what
Very active on social media.
You know what I find interesting about that sheet right there? He's been bowling for 12 years.
Wow.
You know, I know you've been bowling for longer than that.
Yeah.
I've been bowling for longer than that, not a ton, but that
That reminds me of a good friend of ours, Mike Larson. He actually didn't
yes.
start bowling until he was like 27.
Yep.
And he almost made our show here today. So
Top qualifier after 11 games, just unfortunate in position round to not have anything and have everything shot below him.
like we mentioned before, Andy is the Manitoba Open champion from last week. He was a part of the Nicholas J's Pro Shop team that won the Eagle down in Baton Rouge for a team event with Nick Heilman. And he also finished second and fifth here at the Morris Anderson. In the last 3 years, he had a second and a fifth place finish. So, you know, he's bowled well when he comes up here, and he's going to try to do one better than that and walk away with the title here today. So,
Well,
Andy will get 2 shots on each lane, and then we'll be on our way with our semifinal match.
I don't think anybody will be surprised to see Andy shoot a better game that's been bowled already. The way that he's been bowling lately.
Mike Allen is on a roll, though. It makes you wonder, like we saw that move at the end of the game. He paralleled left to try to maybe find a little more friction as he's playing direct, and we'll see if that has a good impact for him.
It was only on the left lane, though, I believe. I don't think he did it on the right lane.
And once again, while we have a minute, I'd like to remind everyone that I'm Darren Senior with NDBowling.com, joined with Ken Fletcher, good friend of mine, and a Team NDBowling.com member. You're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network. Brought to you by Ebonite, the official bowling ball sponsor of NDBowlTV. And a reminder to stay connected to NDBowling.com via social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. That would be greatly appreciated. We are in our semifinal match here in the season's second major. Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout. Defending champion Clayton Moore finished, I think, mid-pack today, or
I think he was in the low 20s.
yeah, depending on what he did in the position round, he was low 20s.
Well, for a guy who wasn't even sure he'd be bowling.
All right, he originally was the alternate, and one of the bowlers, due to some hand problems, was not able to make a go at it. So that's one thing, if anyone knows the alternate position, it would be me.
That's for sure you do.
Last year, I finished as an alternate in 7 tournaments in the calendar year of 2015. And not once did I get to go in and bowl. And of course, the one tournament I wish I was the alternate because I would have got to bowl today. I wasn't. But it's just, sometimes how it falls. It looks like Andy is trying to find something on this championship pair, as many people have been lost. He'll get his 2 shots. We'll try to figure out what he's throwing. I can guarantee it's a Brunswick ball.
More than likely.
Looks like one of the masterminds.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
I know he's got a Scholar on the rack as well.
It's interesting that he's trying to play where he's at, considering how the look has been from in there.
Yeah, it's so speed sensitive from in the middle. And I don't think, when it comes to speed, Mike Allen doesn't have, he has a bigger margin of error with his speed, with how direct he's playing, where when you play inside, you got to be pretty precise with, accuracy and speed to get the ball to face at the right point down lane.
Yep, especially the way that this pattern is broken down.
One of these years, I need to find it. Get Mike J. Lane side up here and get in the booth. Maybe he'll come bowl the shootout and he can join us on NDBowlTV. I'll have to give him a shout out on Twitter, and maybe we can get him up here one year. Or get him on NDBowlTV one time.
Yeah, right.
We'll get some high class commentating in here at some point.
That'd be interesting to see somebody like him up here.
Yeah, I think at that point I'll just put the headphones on and run the cameras. And
Right.
Just let him do everything. All right, we're underway here in our semifinal match. Andy Mills versus Mike Allen. Mike Allen was the 4th seed. He's won 2 matches so far. Andy choosing to start first. And once again, he is the 3rd to attempt to play in on our championship pair. And the only guy playing right is a guy that's still winning matches, Mike Allen. So, and we'll have to see where Schiffler's bowling. He seemed to be kind of in between both of these players here now. So,
I think he's played right most of the day, and it could be to his advantage. He's got a little bit more hand than Mike does, but you know what? At this point, Mike's been on the lane for a couple games. He's probably getting comfortable.
Yep. And one thing to keep in mind too, the way Mike's bowling, he's kind of bowling across the players that are playing in, and it makes you wonder if that has any effect on down lane reactions and the movement of the oil on this pattern, because there's so much head oil on this pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Straight and simple.
Yep.
They always say straighter is greater, and Mike Allen is taking that to his advantage right now.
Yep, when they get tough, straighter you go, the better off you're going to be more times than not.
That's left. You got away with another one. You miss by a lot.
Yeah, he knows it, but too.
You and I have been in a lot of head-to-head matches over our, junior careers and into adult careers. you know, are you one of those guys who do you get angry seeing something like that? Do you let it get to your head, or do you try to, like, you know, you got to block it out, but has it ever gotten to you?
Early on in a match, I don't think it's so weighs on your mind. That might be the first strike on the right lane by somebody playing in, too, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, early on, I don't think it gets to you too much. You know, a couple frames in, still time to make up. Different story when somebody goes up in the 10th frame, you know, throws the Brooklyn to beat you or something like that. It bothers me. I can't say it doesn't. You know, I tend to, that weighs on me a little bit more at times.
It brings me back to the first show we had this year.
Ooh,
Good
big
double there.
by
Good
ND.
answer. The show we had in Jamestown, the first one this year, the NDBowling.com Kickoff Classic. Mike Morris was in that title match, and he had a Brooklyn thrown against him. But when we looked down to where Mike was sitting, he never watched his opponent throw a shot.
I think that's something that he said too, that he never watches.
And I asked him about it in the post game interview, and he said, you know, it doesn't matter. The score is up there, so, you know, why watch it and see him throw Brooklyn and let it affect how you play? So, and
almost.
he had a messenger coming over, but there was another pin on the deck that kind of stopped it. So,
You know, knowing Mike for a few years, he's one of the smarter guys around. I mean, he's won tournaments all over. You know, 3-time Classic champion. If he says something, you usually listen to it and try to take it to heart, because he's probably going to know what he's talking about. And, you know,
absolutely.
in that case, if that's something you can do, you know, if you can sit there and not watch what they do, it's so much better on your mindset. So
Yeah.
you can, you know, you look up, you see a double, oh, those are probably 2 good shots.
yeah,
You just
for all
assume
you
that
know.
right away, and, you know, you do that, and your takeaway from that game can be so much better than, oh, they just threw 4 Brooklyns at me or something.
Exactly. And I know, you know, a good friend of mine, Matt Smallin, walked up to me earlier today and he said, you know, I lost on a Brooklyn twice. And, you know, would his mindset be different had he not watched? You never know.
Yep, absolutely.
I did get a shout out from Joe Fleming watching down in South Dakota, so
All right.
good shout out to him. Dr. Peacock, as we call him.
Like seeing all his hair pictures on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Joe Fleming. And if you guys haven't already, he runs a great tournament down there in Sioux Falls, the Great Plains Scratch Classic. So check that one out as well. Maybe we'll be down there doing the live cast of that one next year as well.
That's a fun tournament. Different setup, you know, it's really unique. Had a lot of fun doing that one.
Yeah, interesting format, tough pattern, good payout, everything. So, all right, Andy Mills up in the 4th. Is it wide?
Yeah, it's wide, yep.
And he didn't miss wide by much. And, you know, he's not throwing it that fast either. And it just, the whole time, you're like, okay, the ball's going to sit up there, nope, and just skates on by.
Yeah, I mean, you think with the soft speed that he's got, or at least that he's using right now, that would have, but
So do you think you know, I know down lane, they weren't this bad yesterday. Do you think that is a result of a lot more people playing left early today?
you have to wonder. I mean, you know, like we said, I think at the top of the show, people like to, you know, start where they finished, and, you know, with me, that's pretty much right on top of where they're playing right now, so.
Right, and with less traffic today, and everyone knows that day 2, the pattern's a lot tighter.
Yep.
Let's see if you can get a bounce back shot here. That's a good
That
strike.
looked pretty good. I mean, he's got a strike on the right lane. I mean, he knows he can do it, but You know, it's so fine of a margin right now for both guys.
Once again, the winner of this match will take on Justin Schiffler in our title match.
It's all right. Yep.
Good shot there.
Yep.
And while we have a minute, just want to thank all the sponsors of this great event. First Western Insurance, Farmers Union Insurance, Coors Light, Brady Marts, Junior Golf Association, Mowbray & Sons, Maine Electric, Holmes Electric, Pepsi, North Country Home Improvement, Troy Westmeyer, Budweiser, Wesley Motors, and then two big sponsors, the Grand Hotel and Four Bears Casino and Lodge. There is an NDBowling.com logo out there as well.
Yeah, right next to, shockingly enough, the Budweiser.
That doesn't mean anything now.
Got to get up a little.
Ooh.
2 in a row in that lane.
I thought that one was going to roll up enough to take the 10 out, but it didn't.
Not quite. You know what? I think he's comfortable where he's at, and at this point, if he keeps doing that for this game, I think he's happy.
Yeah, he's going to be tough to beat.
That'll likely get him to the championship match, I would imagine, just because of how tough the inside look is right now. Yep, covered the spare.
Got a shout out from Travis Hersrud. So good to hear from him. He's a NDBowling.com major champion. Big shot for Andy. Is that too
Close. Oh, got it out. Nice.
And the yo-yo. I'm a fan of the yo-yo. Last week, and I told him in Manitoba, I was like, "You're on the show. You gotta do a yo-yo celebration."
I wouldn't be completely shocked if he got another one here to see.
Yeah, this is a big shot for him. This will get him right back in the match, especially with the spare up for Mike.
It's close. Oh,
he
trips the
got
four
it.
out.
Big shot by Andy Mills. So here comes Mike Allen. This is probably the most pressure he's felt in all the matches so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's been coasting to a pretty, to a point. Nobody's really thrown anything at him until now.
Looks left.
Yep.
But fortunate enough to leave something makeable.
Good spare. This could be a key shot for him right here for a couple 10 pins.
Yeah, and he, with your opponent on a three-bagger here, spares aren't going to get it done if he keeps striking, so. It looks like we've reached the 200 viewers right now. That might be a NDBowling.com record.
He
He
almost tripped it out.
almost got it. A late roller on the deck almost took the 2-pin out.
I think he was fortunate to just leave the 2-pin and then almost got a huge break.
Okay, so now you're Andy Mills here. you've got every opportunity to take the lead now. It's about all you can ask for the way the match started for Andy. So
Yeah.
But really, out of all the shots that Andy's thrown, he's missed twice and paid the ultimate penalty. So playing where he's playing, you know, you miss. It might be an open where Mike Allen is playing, you miss. He's got makeable spares, so
Yep.
you got to be pretty precise where he's playing.
Yeah, he knows it. It's pretty close. That was a good
really
shot.
good shot.
Yep.
All right, another one here. He's got full control of this match. You know, my late stepfather always told me, he's like, every time you leave an open, you need to double to make up for it. And I think if anyone can bounce back, Andy Mills, and he did that.
He's done more than that. You know, I think it's a little more than either of us expected to start this game.
Right. Well, the hook.
Oh, wow.
I think he thought he had that one there. I thought he had it the way that ball rolled up, too.
It sure looked like it. You know what? That sets the stage for Mike if he can throw 3 in a row right here. The spare Andy's got 223 on the board. Mike goes for 225.
Yeah, Mike has a chance to shut him out now. But cover the spare.
He's got it.
All right, the stage is set for Mike Allen. He's got a chance to put this one away and advance to our championship match. Shout out from Darren Hansen in the chat room.
Gonna hook a little bit. Oh. A little surprised at that 7-pin, looks like.
Oh, and Kim Morris is in our chat room and said that Mike Morris was signed up, but he had a cold and he couldn't shake it, so he wasn't able to come here.
Ah, that's too bad.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing Mike bowl this event. Mike Morris, that is. Oh, here we go. Once again, got to cover the spare.
Oops.
We're going to think about that one a little more. All right, good spare.
Yep.
All right, so he's still got, what, 214 left on the board?
Yeah, even so, you know, 3 strikes is huge to force Andy to double on
Right.
what I would say is the tougher of the 2 lanes at this point.
Yep, Andy goes strike spare for 213, so, you know, count means a lot here as well. So this first one's got to be big for Mike just on the count side of it.
Yep.
That looks wide.
Yeah. Trying to give her room, and that's
He left
not
that
what you
same
want.
thing on 29, our first match, in the 10th frame. This could set the stage for Andy Mills for a chance at history if he could advance to that championship match.
Well, you give Mike 2 right here, and Andy needs 9 on the first ball.
Nope.
Interesting, he goes straight at it.
He almost got it
that
to come
was
out of the back.
close.
And that's why he did it. He got it, both pins to go right on that and gave himself a chance. So,
Nice.
well, Andy needs, what, 8?
No, not even that.
Oh, yeah.
Math was a little off on that.
Yeah, he only needs a couple pins here.
4 pins, I think. More than that. Yeah, no, 4 pins.
And that'll do it. That's enough. Andy Mills will advance to the championship match and an opportunity to be the first bowler ever to to win the Manitoba Open and the CMA Memorial Shootout in consecutive tournaments in the same year. And they would be his first 2 majors of his career as well. So
Yeah, and you wonder if he does win today, how fast does he get a check down to midway lanes?
you know, if that's on his mind, you know, it's a long drive for those guys, and
It is. That's another, you know, multiple hour trip for them. But you know what? If he's thinking about that at all,
we got the North Dakota bowling version of Jordan Spieth on our hands here, folks. Looking to go the first 2 majors of the year. It'll be Andy Mills and Justin Schiffler in our championship match. Big shout out to Mike Allen. Fighting through those matches, it was just a rough 10th frame there is what cost him. So
yeah, that was a pretty impressive run by a guy who's, from what we know, never been here.
yeah, so he'll finish 3rd, and I think it's what, $2,200?
$2,200, I believe. Yep.
Yes, and once again, if you guys are just joining us, the payout here at the CMA Memorial Shootout on the poster was based off 160 entries. They got 127 entries, but North Hill Bowl still paid out what was on the poster. So a big thank you to North Hill Bowl, Jeff Craig, his staff, Renee Shirley, and everyone involved with the tournament. They do a great job and are very generous up here. So if you haven't had a chance, please bowl this tournament one year. It is a very good tournament. And now we get a look at our number 1 overall seed, Justin Schiffler, out of Freeport, Minnesota. He is a 5th grade teacher at the Sauk Rapids School District. He was 6th at Manitoba Open last year. Let's see, high series of 857, 300 game as well. So definitely no stranger to this, being bowling for, I see, 30 years. Is that what that says?
Hard to read the writing completely, but I read 30 years out of that.
Yeah, he can't be much older than 30.
No, I thought he was right around our age. Maybe it must be a little bit older.
Yeah, he's been married for 5 years. So you see Justin in a lot of tournaments. You see him in Manitoba. You see him, I think he bowls a K-Fire quite a bit too.
Yep.
I think he travels up to Clayton Moore and those guys. Once again, following this match, we will get a word hopefully with our runner-up and our champion after they do the trophy presentation, and the money as well. $5,000 will go to the winner. $3,000 will go to our runner-up. And once again, while we have a minute, I want to remind you that you're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network. Brought to you by Ebonite, the official bowling ball sponsor of NDBowlTV. And if you get a chance, please stay connected with us on social media. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are in our championship match here at the 13th annual Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout. We will have our 13th different winner. I think that goes to speak as to how strong the field is, the different types of shot they put out here, and how well the tournaments run.
Absolutely.
You know, it doesn't favor one person, one certain game, lefty or righty.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen multiple lefties, multiple righties, every kind of style you can think of has won, this tournament.
Yep, straight players that like to play in, firm, soft. We've had older winners, we've had younger winners. You've seen it all here in just 13 years, the youngest of the 4 majors. So. All right, so I believe Justin has elected to start the match. If you haven't already, please share the link on social media with everyone you know. We are in our championship match.
Oh, nope, looks like it's the other way around.
Nope.
Andy's going to start.
Okay. So here we go, folks. And Andy Mills become the first ever to win the first 2 majors of the season.
Yep. Or will we have another first-time major winner?
That is true.
Should be a good match. I think they're fairly familiar with each other, too.
That's for sure. Shout out to Robert Millar Jr., Bulls local here in Minot. Shout out to us here on NDBowlTV. Thanks for checking in and thanks for watching. Kim Morris does have a quick question in here now that we're done bowling. What do you feel were needed for equipment in this tournament?
Interesting question considering what I tried to use all day yesterday.
Yeah, I think I went through my bag twice.
Yep.
I personally think, it was a heavy volume pattern. You needed something that rolled. It was really hard to get the ball to face up, to roll right. And, depending on your rev rate, depending on your axis tilt, it's a matchup of core cover and then the drilling, and it's all player dependent. Some players could throw my equipment and probably make it look a lot better than I could, but, everyone's got a different roll, different rev rate, different speed. So I think aggressive drillings were needed on this.
Definitely. I mean, some of my weaker stuff I tried to throw, and you just watch it skate, and then you try and give it a little bit, and all of a sudden it just jumps on you. I found the smoother, rolly stuff worked a little bit better for me personally.
Well, here's our first look at overall tournament leader Justin Schiffler.
And that's one heck of a way to start.
Welcome to NDBowlTV.
Flying right around the area that Mike Allen was.
See, and that's tough. You've been sitting for a while. You come to the championship pair, your first ball, scoring ball, and you leave a 7-10. So now the thoughts go through your mind. Do you have to make an adjustment? Was it a bad break? That's tough to do. That's tough to decide what to do after a lead like that.
I mean, didn't look like a bad shot by any means. Just bad break, I would say.
Well, you got to regroup here. That was a good spot to put that there in the first frame. So.
Yeah.
Looks better. Just can't get the 10 out.
Maybe. I mean,
Okay, that's a slight adjustment, though.
yeah, not a bad shot. Maybe just a pinch firm. I don't think it ever really had a chance to grab the lane. But you know what? Opening 2 shots at least sit in the pocket.
Yeah, got to feel good about that.
He'll make the adjustments and be on his way you would expect the next couple shots.
I know a couple times yesterday, when you make adjustments, the hard part is not giving the pocket away.
Yeah.
And so to be able to make a slight adjustment and stay in the pocket is key to filling frames. Okay, Andy Mills up once again. Our winner last week in Manitoba here on NDBowlTV.
I think he knows if he can get off quickly with a double here, that could be tough for Justin.
Good shot there by Andy. We have another shout out here from Mark Patterson. Says great job on the show. We do appreciate that, Mark, and thanks for watching. He also wanted to remind me to put the score cam up. I did forget there for a second. Big early shot here for Andy. It's gonna push.
Yep. Looks like he's moved in a little bit more.
So now, okay, you're Justin Schiffler now. You come in, you haven't bowled a game yet. You've been waiting for, upwards of over an hour to bowl a competitive shot, and you throw a 7-10, and you watch your opponent throw a double. This is a point in the match where you can't press. You gotta, let the, just feed good shots.
Yep.
And let the carry take care of itself.
Still early enough, anything can happen. I mean, you look at it, he has 260 on the board still.
That's a good shot. That'll get him comfortable now.
Yeah, that should calm him down a little bit and come back with another one here. And could see the strikes fly this game.
That's for sure. Let's try to get a look at what he's throwing here. He does have ebonite on his shirt. It does look like a game breaker in his hand, or no? Maybe not.
It's hard to tell with how many dark balls there are.
Yeah, I know Track has a new Legion Solid, which has been really good, which is also a dark colored ball. So we'll try to get that for you guys.
It's pretty close with hooks.
I think he got firm with that one.
Yep. Looked to be in a pretty good zone. Just again.
Well, here's the spare we've been talking about all show. We'll see how Justin decides to attack this one.
Goes to another ball.
Is he gonna hold?
Yeah, it must be plastic. It's a good shot there.
Good conversion. Well, now, as your opponent, Andy Mills, you can come up here and throw two in a row and really take advantage of this. You know doubles are hard to come by, so if you can add to that, really put some pressure to your opponent.
Yeah, 2 strikes here is stranglehold on the match early.
That looks pretty good.
Yep.
No question.
Yep. Yeah, he seems to be pretty comfortable with what he's doing right now.
Will it get there?
Yep.
Another good shot by Andy, and he looks locked in right now. And which is surprising because early on in our show, that inside line was really touch and go, and now it seems like the ball is feeding in there pretty nice and rolling up good for him.
Yeah, it looks like he's left a handful of boards from where everybody else is trying to play, but even so. You can tell when guys get locked in, and he is there right now. That was a good shot from Justin.
And Justin says, I'm not going anywhere yet, so. And while we have a second, just a quick thank you to everyone here at North Hill Bowl for allowing NDBowlTV to cover this event. It's a favorite of mine, and I only have to drive up the hill to come do the show for it. Because I live here in Minot, the home of NDBowling.com.
Must be nice to only have to go, 2 miles.
Yeah. And your tournament in Fargo's coming up.
Yes. It's pretty good there. It's a little high.
He really wanted that one.
Yeah. Looked like speed was a little bit softer on that and just picked up a little too much.
And, in earlier matches, it was the right lane giving people fits, and now it's the left lane for him.
And with the way Andy's going too, he would need everything he can get right now.
Now, once again, following this match, we will try to get a word with our final 2 competitors. We'll say so long to our friend Ken Fletcher, and thank you for joining us on NDBowlTV once again.
I'm always happy to be here if I can.
Yeah, we'll remain talking to you until the trophy presentation is complete, and then we'll talk to our competitors. Is that
Gotta
gonna
get up a
hook?
little bit.
Oh, I think he got away with the one there.
Wow. Yeah.
When
he
it's
knows
your
it.
day, it's your day. Well, that puts a stranglehold on this match.
Yeah, one more here, and all he's gonna have to do is fill frames. Pretty close, yeah, no doubt.
Well, folks, if you haven't been watching our shows lately, this is quite a performance. Just go back to our first match. I think a 160 won the match.
Yep.
And now, you know, we got a guy here looking to win his second major in a row, and arguably the two toughest of the four.
I'm not sure I could argue that. Well, good break trip in the split out, but you know, at this point, if it's not a strike, I don't know if it matters. And the way he's looking at it, I think he knows.
Yeah, strike or bust here. So, well, you know, it doesn't take anything away. It's still a great performance for Schiffler this week. And
yeah, regardless of how he ends up, you know, first time on a show, I believe, and can be proud of the fact that he made it here. It's not an easy thing to do in this tournament.
yeah, and he was third going into position round and had a big game there with the victory that vaulted him to the top position and guaranteed him a $3,000 check. So,
Yep. But, you know, a couple frames left. Anything can happen. Yep, that's the look of, oh, now you give me one on that lane.
once again, please stay tuned to NDBowlTV for the trophy presentation following this match and post-game interviews. And he is locked in right now.
Every ball has been, I mean, with the exception of maybe the last one on like 30 high flush, you know. There's been no doubt about this, any of them this game.
Yeah, he had the one mixer, but otherwise, all these shots are really close. That'll do it.
Yeah,
it's your day. It's your day, and Andy Mills will win the 13th Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout, his second consecutive major, first time ever.
That's an incredible feat. You know, we've seen some things. You know, last year Scott Ennersby shooting 300 and 800, but this might be as good as anything right here.
Clayton Moore making, you know, the top seed at 3 consecutive majors.
Yep.
Just some crazy things going on there, but this is pretty impressive, and we'll get a word with Andy momentarily.
You know, he'll be more than happy to join you in here.
Hopefully we can get a word with Justin as well. I'm going to leave that up to you after they award the trophy and the money.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he does as well. Yep. And now when it's just about it, pretty much is over. He's carrying everything. Nice way to finish for Justin. Pretty solid game, but just not enough when you've got Andy doing what he's doing.
That's for sure. And, here's a victory lap for Andy. Once again, great performance by Justin Schiffler. He'll take home $3,000 for his efforts. And the $5,000 check will go to Andy Mills.
Yeah, everybody wanted to see 290 on the show, but not quite. Still an incredible performance, an incredible game bowled here in the finals by Andy.
Yeah, on a pretty tough pair too. And if you watched our earlier matches, you can see that this pair wasn't easy, especially for those playing the inside line that he was. So they're going to quickly award the trophies and the money. And then we'll get a word with our competitors and wrap things up here from Minot at the 13th Annual Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout. Andy Mills is your champion, so stay tuned and we'll get a word with them. I don't know if we can hear you guys, but no.
I can barely. Rory's good enough at that.
Rory will yell, so you guys can hear him out here.
For $3,000, the trophy to Justin Schiffler for runner-up. Congratulations. Hard work to take home. And your winner, Mr. Andy Mills, check for $5,000 made up to Nick Heilman. Woo! A giant check for $5,000 made up to you. And a trophy.
You get this one. You get this one.
Right.
Nick, you get this one.
Hey, he was in like second to last yesterday after game 2. Never give up. Never give up. All right. Thank you guys very much for coming. It was awesome. Good show. Thanks for traveling all that way. Congratulations to the winners. Safe travels home.
Okay, well, I would like to say thanks to Ken Fletcher. Thanks for joining me in the booth once again. It was good as always.
It's a lot of fun to watch. Glad to be here again.
Let's see if we can get a word with our runner-up, Justin Schiffler, first.
I will go grab him for you, and thanks, Darren, for having me again.
Yep, thanks, Ken.
Does his head make me look skinny?
What a way to end, man. That was awesome.
Yeah. You guys had a good couple weekends, huh? Yeah. You want to take some weekends? Thank you.
Oh my god. That's why it smells so good.
That's right. All right, done skis. We survived the weekend, and the scoring system worked. What a weekend! That's victory in itself. I feel like I won $5 grand. Yeah, right. And we told everybody 5 o'clock, so you can wipe the table down for us real quick. And I was worried about that. That's what.
So what I did is I just went down every pair before I started, dumped a little baby powder, the ball returns. So, yeah.
We had a whole week to do nothing now. How much into the? Hey, Jeff.
Okay, we're joined in the booth now on NDBowlTV by Justin Schiffler. Justin, welcome to NDBowlTV.
Hey, how are you, Darren? Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
For sure. So, you went into position round in the number 3 guy. You had a big game there, a big win that vaulted you into the top seed. Take us through your day 2. How did that go for you?
At the start of the day, everything started hooking more than yesterday. So I was a little nervous to begin the day. I felt I had a pretty good look at the beginning of Saturday qualifying, so I had to kind of ball down into something I wasn't comfortable with and milk my way through the first few games, and then got got on a pretty good run at the end, and then I have to thank my partner Jason Polrice. He was kind of down and out of it, so he was kind of helped me trying to find something. He bumped way right, playing up kind of 3-4, and said, "Hey, go try it." So I went out my fill ball of one of my 10 frames and had a really good look, and I bumped out that last game against Mike, and then Larson, and kind of the rest was history. It was fun. It was fun to bowl again for a title. It's been a while.
You bowled really good this weekend, and you know, here at NDBowlTV, we're sponsored by Ebonite. I see you're wearing an Ebonite shirt. What equipment was working well for you this week?
Funny you say that. I bowl with Polroyce and Sonnenfeld and those guys down in Sioux Falls, and Ebonite's done some stuff for us and helped us out, so I want to thank them. But actually today I was throwing my IQ, my old IQ tour, so supporting Ebonite, but at the same time had to pull out something that was going to work and strike for me in the end, you know.
Old reliable is what I call
absolutely.
it.
Ebonite's has been great to us, though.
Well, I do want to congratulate you on a second place finish. Still, you took home some good money.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend,
and it was good seeing on NDBowlTV.
Yeah, thank you much, Darren.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll see if we can get a word with our winner. If you want to find him for me, I don't know where he went. All right, I'd like to welcome back to NDBowlTV Andy Mills, the winner of the 13th Annual Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout and the first bowler ever to win both the Manitoba Open and the CMA Memorial Shootout in the same season. Andy, welcome.
Thank you again, Darren.
So, how did today go? And yeah, I know we mentioned on the show yesterday after the first two games you were not in very good shape, and here you are sitting talking to me again as the winner. Take us through your weekend.
I will, thank you. It's just an up and down weekend. This pattern that they put out, it's been this pretty similar pattern that they've always put out, and I do not do well in the first two games on this thing, but it just proves that you just can't give up. You know, the mental game that bowlers have to have when you enter a tournament like this, it's you definitely have to have it because you're gonna go through some roller coasters. I threw a 162 and a 159 today as well. You know, those games are killer, but that just puts the testament to what Jeff and Rory come up with in this pattern, because it just makes the scores all about shot making. It really does.
Absolutely, and you know, they always say it's not a sprint, it's more of a marathon in a game like this. I mean, you bowled 22 games this weekend, not counting practice balls, so you know that takes a toll on a person's mental game and physically as well. So you know, you've won 2 majors in a row. You know, put that into perspective for us.
It is just unbelievable. You know, you walk into, you know, both bowling centers hoping to win, hoping to just bowl well, and for everything to go well for me for 2 weekends in a row, it's just unbelievable. You know, I always plug Nick in because he's always my second set of eyes every time I'm bowling. I really can't do much without him, to be honest, and he is. I really appreciate what he does for me because he helps me see what the lanes are doing. We can bounce ideas off of each other, and so it's just unbelievable. It really is.
And you guys make a pretty good team, and you know I see it on Facebook all the time. They give you a hard time calling you Millsing it, but I think this is going to redefine that and get that one off your back.
I hope so. I hope so. We'll just call that Heilman in it from now on because he's struggling in those stepladder matches. I got to dig on him a little bit because that's what we're all about.
Yeah, he's made 4 stepladder finals in majors here at NDBowlTV, and he's not won a title yet. And you've made 4 as well, and now have 2 titles. So you have that going for you. Once again, what's next for you?
We have some city stuff. We got a local 700 club. We got a local city tournament. Fusion is at the end of February, so hopefully 80, so almost 70 games in 3 weekends. Wow. I think it's time to take a rest for a couple weekends and just bowl league. And just want to do a quick shout out to my wife Lindsay and our friends at home that are watching. I really appreciate it, guys, and every time Darren puts a TV show together, we'll try to make it for everybody back home. It's just a lot of fun, and can't thank you enough for what you do, Darren.
Thank you, and I'm sure the Wisconsin hopeful are happy to watch as well. So congratulations once again, and I'm sure we'll see you on NDBowlTV some other time as well.
I hope so. Thanks, Darren.
Yep, thanks, Andy. Okay, and that'll do it with our coverage here at the 13th Annual Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout. We will be live in about a month and a half in Fargo at the NDBowling.com Classic, the season's final major. Be sure to tune in then. Check out our upcoming events page for any tournaments coming up. If you want to give it a shot, we do have a couple majors left this year. Once again, a big thank you goes out to the folks at Ebonite, the official bowling ball sponsor of NDBowlTV. You can stay connected to NDBowling.com and NDBowlTV via social media. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube page. Once again, I'm Darren Cini with NDBowling.com, and you're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network.